want to start a campaign sniping for good, which is literally just cause destruction to flat Earth, and that's it.
Yeah, but you're a pain in the butt, aren't you?
Yeah. You're not a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Which way?
Yeah.
I have to say, it surprises how many people are wanting to get the print copy.
People like physical books.
Yeah, I know, man. It's just
after reading 3 books on through the Kindle app, I'd rather have a physical copy.
Yeah, I'm more of a physical book myself.
You're a physical book?
Jesus.
You are a book.
Come on, that one was fun. Throw that up there. There we go. We have Jackie in a place of honor, unintentionally, but nonetheless.
You're not the unicorn anymore, and that makes me disappointed.
I'm getting the stream screen set up here.
Okay.
Somehow you ended up in a place of honor.
That's not the pushing cat, is it? It's a different cat, right?
It's a pushing. It's a pushinicorn in a donut.
Oh, I didn't notice that was also a unicorn. Oh, I'm just blind, I guess.
It's a pushinicorn.
I'm just blind, I guess. Well,
wait a minute. Shit, son.
Shit, son.
Shit, son. Why is he giggling?
Time for the kratom dose.
I just made some kratom tea and I threw a cinnamon apple herbal tea bag into it. Actually, it tastes pretty good.
Yeah, but then again, I'm really good just about just drinking it straight and just making as minimal amount of water as possible and just pounding it, because I can't do the what you call it, the toss and wash anymore. It makes me want to vomit. I'm like, oh. Yeah,
I don't like the taste of it straight. I always mix it with a little lemon juice.
I used to be able to just crank out a toss and wash toss and wash and be like, I'm fine. But after a while, I was like, this makes me gag. And it just tastes like
bitter.
tea.
It's really bitter. That's why.
I don't know, man. I was planning on having a couple of drinks. It sounds like you beat me to it with the... never mind. I'm just picking on you.
Great.
I got some... I got some sake. I can pour some of that. Jackie, you want some sake? No?
I really like the last time I got super overtly hammered was when we were having that memorial hangout, that silent hangout.
Yeah.
And Shani was in there. Oh my god. That's probably the drunkest I've ever been in my life.
Oh, dude,
really?
that required a few drinks.
Not my life. That's the drunkest I've been in the last 6 months.
Really? Yeah, that one. I didn't even realize you were all that drunk. I was drinking too. I think I had rum or something. Or
well, I don't drink when I go out to drink. It's mostly I'll get a pitcher of vodka special, and then I'll supplement that with a pitcher of water, so I don't get overtly hammered. So I can party most of the night and not have to worry about I'm having one of those smack my bitch up music video moments where everything's going real slow and weird. But no, it's I was just straight up drinking I don't know dark rum and just talking to Shani, which is really weird.
Yeah.
Oh, that was trippy as shit, man.
That whole hangout was fucked up.
It was so much fun. What's wrong with you guys?
It was fun for a while until she started going off about her problems.
Oh man, yeah. Well, I mean, this is the thing, is that there, were people that were distressed, and good grief was she. But how much of that distress was Jade is really debatable. really, really debatable. Yeah. But nonetheless,
it was fun for a solid hour and a half, 2 hours, and then it got real serious. And this is really awkward now.
Yeah.
We're live now, aren't we?
Yes, we are indeed live now, but you kept talking, so I didn't get to tell you. But yeah, we're live.
Okay. It wasn't anything overtly horrible.
Yeah, I've got to change my bandwidth here, because the link is, of course, as usual, in the description. As the people may have noticed, I got rid of that stupid frickin' meat piece of shit. So we're back to, normal hangouts now.
Meat piece of shit?
Oh yeah, it was Google Meet. This Google Meet thing.
Okay. Oh yeah, all that stuff I missed. Okay, never mind.
It kind of put that in there. It's like, you're going to be using this now, and I'm like, what the hell? So then finally, after the shenanigans from that one hangout that I ended up having to pull, which was supposed to be the initial celebration hangout for the book release, I ended up having to freaking pull that and redo the damn thing the next day.
Sorry, I was sleeping.
So yeah, after that whole shenanigans, I got pissed off and went into my admin console and beat the crap out of it until I got this back. So we have
Sick.
the normal interface again, finally. But yeah, Meat is atrocious. When you kick somebody out, they can come right back in.
No, he couldn't come back in when I actually kicked him. He kept leaving.
No. He no. He kept asking to come back in, is what I should say.
Oh,
So-
he kept like ringing the doorbell.
Yeah, I had I had at one point like 500 doorbell requests.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
That's weird.
it just kept letting them try to come back in.
So I guess what it does then, when you actually kick someone out, it doesn't ban them. It just reverts it to the default position where you have to be approved.
Yeah, which is just absolutely atrocious. And
That's really stupid.
when you have like
You-
500 requests, it doesn't block the room or any of that stuff like it normally would in a corporate hangout.
Did you send a feedback thing?
Oh, you better freaking believe I sent a feedback thing.
Good. That's good
Okay,
to know.
that's good.
I was
Maybe
a
we
little
should,
irritated.
Maybe you should try to campaign for sniping to be removed.
I tried that. I've been thinking I really need to do this. I want to try and get in touch with the developers that actually work on Hangouts and not the fucking security team because they're useless. I mean, they
Absolutely.
tried, but they just didn't get back to me. They acknowledged that it was a problem. And then they said, we're going to go talk to the developers, and then they didn't get back to me.
Well, because it's
I
a
mean,
feature.
Yeah, it's a feature.
Like, in all fairness, I would love to see like stats as far as like majority of people who use Hangouts. Like I'd be willing to bet that a sizable chunk of those people are from our community.
Well, I mean, kind of the kicker of it is that you have these people that are sitting there using Hangouts reliably for an extended period of time, and then sniping becomes a thing. And then before you know it, Google's like, well, nobody's using Hangouts anymore, so we're going to start changing the features. It's like, yeah, because of sniping, you retards.
I
Because you
remember,
refuse to address it.
I remember when Hangouts were new and brand new, and they were trying so hard to add a bunch of really cool shit to it. Remember, I think me and Pacifistic Atheist and Shar fucking played this pseudo game of Risk in Hangouts, and I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah, some of that stuff was kind of fun. And in addition to that, you could actually just sit there and get a list of all the live Hangouts and say, oh, this looks interesting. Let's see what's going on here. And I actually did join a couple random Hangouts where they're talking about random stuff completely unrelated to our usual weird little corner of the universe here.
Yeah. Well, even initially the bottom thirds were cool. Mostly you can signify you can know, oh, I see who that person is because you're part of the community. But if you were new, a bottom third was useful.
I don't know. I don't know that they removed that because people were abusing it, or if they were just removing it because people liked it and they were trying to basically piss us off again. It really seems like that sometimes.
Shit.
I just think you Google tries to they come up with stuff and then they just abandon it. Hangouts aren't abandoned. It's just they don't have as much resources as they used to.
Yeah, they kind of killed it for a lot of people. I really miss being able to just sit there because there was actually one occasion back when I was going after all the new age woo-woo horse shit that I came across this one hangout where there were a bunch of people that were supposed to be channeling live, and I just sat there wow, you've got to be kidding me for 20 minutes. I'm like, oh wait, it's live. They have a join link. This is going to be hilarious.
Yeah, speaking of Woo, I was wondering, I mean, because we had a lot of fun back when we would go through all those videos, and we would do a live, what was it, I wouldn't say live debunking, because we weren't really, some of us didn't really know all that, but we would just kind of mock a lot of those, videos, what The Secret and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of other, the Woo is kind of getting even weirder nowadays. I mean, again, I'm just going to bring up a certain name that we probably all know.
Well, if I can get...
Dr. Jordan Peterson. Are you aware? Is anybody else?
Oh, no, wait, nope. We are not talking about Jordan Peterson at this point.
Really?
Is that woo-woo?
I have a lot more research to do before I say a word.
Okay, fair enough. Can I just say one thing that I know for a fact that he believes, because I saw a video of him literally saying this in some lecture. He thinks that, you ever see those...
Did I say yes?
Oh, okay, no, you didn't. But can I just say...
I know what you're about to say. It's the DNA thing, right?
Yes.
I know hold on, I fucked up the map. I know where he got that idea from. That's not an original idea. He got it from a book.
Oh my God.
Wait, hold on. Does he think that DNA has a message from aliens?
No.
Worse?
It's... Actually, no.
Hang on. If you look at a lot of old art, the first thing that a logical person should conclude is that that people prior to making this art had seen snakes fuck.
Yep.
Basically, this old like art that shows like the intertwined snakes or the spiral motif is proof that ancient cultures knew about DNA. Basically.
Oh.
And I can
Jordan Peterson got this idea from a book called The Cosmic Serpent by Jeremy Narby. Did I invite? No, hold on.
Kevin, I can show you artwork. We got a guy riding in I think it's the sun or the moon. And he's flying it like a little spaceship.
I don't know.
So,
yeah.
You guys said woo. Oh, sorry.
Hang on 1 second. I'm just going to address a question in the chat. We don't know who actually did it, but we do know who they tried to frame for it. And that's as good as we can get right now. Sorry, go ahead, Jordy.
You mean Drunkus Interruptus?
Yeah. Yeah.
Gee, who has channel names that sound a lot like that?
Like Rumpus?
No.
No, they put Rumpus's avatar up there. The name certainly wasn't Rumpus, but yeah, they tried framing Rumpus for it.
Yeah.
It was not Rumpus.
Oh, no. Anyways, when Prudence said woo, it made me think of that Skull Babylon journalist, Neo Gonzo journalist of the future. That woo-woo guy that was trying to peddle anti-cancer and anti-cancer shit. Oh my god. That guy's still doing shit and he still runs open hangouts. Man, I should go in there and snipe him one time.
Wait, there's a guy who pretends he's from the future. He's gone back in time to sell his anti-cancer crap.
No, he's like one of those like free hug dichotomy.
Hang on. He claims, if I'm thinking of the same guy you are, he claims to have the cure for cancer because he's channeled aliens. Sorta.
No, it's he claims to have the cure for cancer because he sells these potassium pills that are wrapped in duct tape, and he also has a friend who sells some sort of like nuclear atom-based pill that you're also supposed to take with the potassium pills, which is also supposed to cure cancer.
But didn't they claim to get the information from like channeling aliens or some crap though? Or is that
why does he need to wrap the potassium pills in duct tape?
No, he wraps the bottles in duct tape that he never like these silver bottles that have like aliens on them. 1 second, I'll go find the link.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's really inano stupid shit. You know, if I'm going to be referencing aliens, there'll be an actual proper science fiction. Thank you very fucking much.
Like he basically, what this guy does is he creates something called the Paradigm Shifters, and it's basically a real life like gamifying of life by buying his buttons, buying his love wands, which are basically just like glow in the dark glow sticks, buying his potassium pills, and giving free hugs.
There's another group like that proceeded, that was long before this one, that was called like the Golden Circle Game of Life or some shit like this. And it was started by this one weird kooky little chick that was pretending to be like channeling all these weird people for the past. And the one that absolutely killed me and that I ended up using a clip for at one point was when she was claiming that she was channeling L. Ron Hubbard and channeling him apologizing for making Scientology.
Huh.
It was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. I'm like, okay, first off, you're pretty messed up. You're definitely causing a little bit of in theta for Scientologists to believe in L. Ron Hubbard because you're not accurate in your rendition here. And Kevin got the joke of half of that statement.
Messed up.
Yes, you got it.
I just have to ask, how did you know about the book where the claim about the snake coiled DNA came from?
Okay, now here's the thing. You have all throughout the world there is art. And in this art, it shows what looks like people with their tails intertwined.
Yeah.
And it's easy to figure out that this originally comes from snakes fucking. But as for the book, go ahead.
Oh, how did I know about it? Jeremy Narby is a known author in the area of entheogens and like traditional psychedelic plants and stuff.
Oh god.
When he makes connections between that and visions that ancient people saw of like, DNA spot, which is something that will show up on psychedelics. It's not really that hard to imagine, but
what's the drug?
draws a connection. Ayahuasca is the main
AT&T.
one that he talks about, but there are other cultures as well that have seen the same thing, and that shows up in their art. But he draws a connection between that and this is at least, he doesn't say it's hard proof. He says it's suggestive that maybe they were able to discern the existence of DNA or something. Yeah, I don't know about that. But.
Yeah, even though like what DNA? Well, the
Prudent, if I may. Remember how creationists ran around saying that every culture has a story about a bunch of people got in boats with animals?
Yeah.
Well, this is the other version where, look, we have snakes that are intertwined in all these different cultures.
I know.
Therefore,
Because
DNA.
we all tell the same fucking stories all the time.
Well, my point is that
Even more so, art's inspired often by nature, like snakes fucking.
Yeah.
even it wasn't even just like the ancient Chinese like who drew that kind of art. I think Aboriginal cultures had some.
Because they have snakes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess.
No,
No.
Here's
Wait,
one
wait,
for you.
wait.
Here's hold on.
Wait.
Here's one for you, Prudent. Cultures who don't have snakes, don't draw that shit because they don't have snakes.
He's trying to make a supporting argument. I don't think he's arguing against you.
Not arguing.
Okay.
Well, the point I was trying to make was actually it's kind of. I was just gonna bring out like the irrelevant fact. Like we knew it was 1953. That was the year that Watson and Crick discovered the double helix shape of DNA. So, like I don't know. It is.
I know.
It's on its face. The idea that you could have known it before then. That's all I'm saying.
Also, I would point out to anyone, like, before dismissing Narby's ideas completely out of hand, I'd encourage him to actually look at the book. I've read part of it, but it is obvious from reading Jordan Peterson's comments on the subject that he definitely has not actually read it.
He also has these really, I don't want to say insane, but he has these seriously way the frick overboard cognitive biases worked into his particular work, we'll just call it. I mean, there's so much dogma thrown in there. And from what I've seen so far, it's looking like he uses the standard cult leader format of common sense. Common sense. Sounds reasonable.
What the fuck?
Bullshit fucking insano crap.
Yeah.
Look, I'm about to leave, but Prudent, I didn't know you were Prudent. If you look at the side, I don't know if you're on a phone, but maybe one of these days you and I you could tell me, you can talk about Jordan Peterson on my channel.
I don't really know much about Jordan Peterson. I just know a few tidbits here and there.
Well,
Midnight, go make your bed.
That's why I'm not talking about it, though, is because to really go through this one appropriately, I kept to do a lot of research, and frankly, with a stroke damage, there's a lot of information that is just no longer accessible in my brain, so that's going to complicate things and slow things down.
No, that's fine.
Even without stroke damage, listening to Jordan Peterson talk is kind of taxing.
Yeah,
yeah, I know.
There's too much through. Is like he concerns me just because he has a weird internet cult following.
Well, no, look,
the
guy runs around talking about the archetype of the hero. Do you think anybody sitting in those rooms with the lectures have even heard of the archetype of the hero, yet alone the stories that he refers to as evidence to support this?
No. In fact, my cousin...
Of course not.
Oh my god.
They don't even know how fucking completely ass backwards he is when he starts talking about, dominant submissive hierarchies in animals and humans.
Bass backwards?
Yeah.
Completely bass backwards.
What were you saying about your cousin, Midnight?
My cousin has become I don't know what the fuck to call him, but he drank the Peterson Kool-Aid.
Okay, fine, he's
He's a sucker.
okay, yes, a sucker, yes.
Well,
honestly, just right quick, the only reason why I'm looking into potentially doing a future series dealing with Peterson is because of that reference that Midnight just made, that he was one of about a half dozen people that said, do you want to do something about this? Because, this is a cult-like, and I'm like, shit.
Well, yeah, I would be really, really interested to see what you have to say about his stuff because he references Jung so much in his work and archetypes and some of the same stuff you've talked about.
The thing about that, though, is that, I'm not studied up as well as I'd like to be on the archetypes. Most of his representation of the shadow I find to be questionable in the way that he frames it.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something really quick before I leave. Me and a friend of mine spent 3 hours. He talked to him for 3 hours, but 3 hours in a Discord call talking to this guy, and I feel so ashamed to be his cousin.
Wait, you mean talking to Peterson?
No, my cousin.
Oh,
For people you know, we're talking to your cousin.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
midnight. Like,
Okay.
I'm so ashamed that there's these people who get into Hangouts and talk like for 5 hours on inane topics about a New Jersey barrel stacker.
Yeah.
No.
yeah, the barrel stackers. No, it might be
And those
vicious,
are
but
the
he's nowhere.
short conversations.
Pseudo, I think you misunderstood me. I feel ashamed to be his cousin because he fell victim to Jordan Peterson. He's a moron.
Okay. Well,
he's gotta
in
grow
all fairness, like.
He's fell prey to a barrel stacker.
I have made very objectively bad decisions in who I followed. Not as of late, but when I was in my youth. No, even worse than that, Kevin. I don't remember if you still heard the stories of me being an Alex Jones follower years ago. Eventually, a lot of motherfuckers just grow out of like people they follow. Like I learned Alex Jones was a fucking retard when I turned like 16. I was like, man, this guy's actually retarded.
Well, something
Just like when you learn Onision's retarded.
Okay, let me
Like-
jump in here. One thing to keep in mind is that there are certain time periods in one's life.
Yeah.
Normally at some point, like early to mid 20s, that people start having these transcendental crises and this kind of stuff, and they start looking for people to follow, so to speak. And whether it's a Peterson or a Spirit Science or a Teal Swan or some weird Christian thing or whatever, people at these ages are more prone to get involved with cults.
Yeah.
They're
And
just
most
more
people,
susceptible.
if they're there long enough and if they're deep enough, they'll eventually come put their head out of water.
Well, let's kind of keep in mind, though, that neural development doesn't end until round about the age of 26, 27.
Mhm.
And, we sit there and talk about, how people are at this age and that age and the other, and we don't really talk as much about the 20s. But during that time period, yeah, we've still got some growing to do until we finally finish our neural development. Oh, here we go. Hey, Andy Lim, rock on. Okay. Incidentally, just as a quick reminder to folks on the outside, the link does exist if y'all want to come in. Hey, how's it going, man?
Yeah, still alive.
Hey, good to hear it. How's it been going, man?
Pretty good. It's been a year or so since we chatted, innit? Like,
Yeah. The last time we chatted was, I believe, after the first stroke and well before the second one, which was, 2 weeks ago?
Ouch. Hope it wasn't too bad, man.
Oh, it's going to be interesting, let's just say, but luckily we have books 1 and 2 done and out and all that fun stuff. And I'm supposed to be working on the rewrite of 3, which I'm probably going to be enlisting some help for.
Yeah.
What do you mean 2-3 weeks ago? Has it really been that long?
Yeah, it's more than that. Like a
more than
month or
that.
2 ago.
Yeah, I think it was about a month or 2, wasn't it? It just
Yeah.
it doesn't feel that long to me, but I have holes in my head right now. It was a different area of the brain that was hit this time, though, which has made things interesting.
Mhm.
I'm going to have to take myself off the road within the next year because driving is not advised anymore. But my friend Annie, some of you guys have met in a couple of the shuffles, she's probably going to be helping me work on the revision of book 3. I'm going to be doing it in like live hangouts. I'm going to be using Dragon Naturally Speaking and have her basically keeping an eye on it and monitoring for when Dragon picks the wrong words to have her correct them because my eyes are pretty much blown right now.
Are you shipping her in?
Mm-mm. Nope,
You're
we're
just
going to be
gonna do
doing it through live hangouts.
So I was gonna be like, that sounds like it'd be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, well, initially she was offering to do some help around the house with dishes and this and that, or at least that's the way it was coming across. And then she started talking money, and I'm like, we're talking about like free room and board at the moment,
Yeah.
and food in your mouth and whatnot, but
Yeah.
you can't afford to like pay. Yeah, no.
The girl standard's too high.
Yeah, well, especially when she said $14 an hour, I'm like,
fuck
good
off.
luck.
Yeah, you can fuck your shit. No, I mean, I wouldn't tell her to fuck herself, but that fuck off.
Yeah, I did hit a little bit of a wall with that to say the least. Yeah, I'm like, never mind.
No, go away.
Especially
Go away,
because
go
the
away.
main thing would be things like typing, and her typing speed is slow.
Yeah.
Actually, faster than mine right now, but that's because my hands don't like responding. which is why we have to do the dragon thing. But she did volunteer to help out with basically just sitting in there, and we're going to just do it through Google Docs and let her just correct things live as I'm going. Because the problem right now, more so than anything else, is the typing. Well, that and being able to see the errors on the screen.
Yeah.
So on a different note, I guess you guys already talked about what happened with TST tonight.
Oh,
Yeah, I was in there. Not when it happened, but
we talked about it before going on the air. We can certainly get back into it.
Yeah. I guess it's probably pointless to ask, but was it any good? We got out of the pub, got back to the hotel, turned on the stream, and within 10 seconds it was dead.
Here's a question: Are you asking, was it any good? Are you asking the show TST or the porn that was actually bombed?
Yeah, the porn was quite crap, but
pretty damn vanilla, yeah.
Yeah, the TST, but then, so what if you say yes? Right, I go, well, great, fuck, I missed it anyway.
Well, we tore apart J-Tard. We had a little bit of a go at Steve, and not much of one at that, and a few other things. But it was an all right episode. There were a couple good laughs. Cliff's a little upset that it had to be taken down because, well, he actually got a couple decent laughs out of it, and that's not the most common thing for Cliff.
Yeah. Well, and what happened with Steve? Like, I was gone for like 6 or 9 months. Came back sadly. Steve was like pretty popular when I left, and now he seems to have fallen out with everybody.
Well, okay. You've been around here for a little bit of a while. You know that we have people around here that are like the old guard that have been around for ages, and then you have people like Dragons and what have you that are well respected in the community, and Fiona and folks like that. Well, he turned on pretty much all of them. Started throwing them out, and they put up a video saying that they can't call themselves part of the Great Debate community, and it's like, dude, you are not the Great Debate community.
Yeah, this whole like Great Debate community thing. I mean, I post there from time to time now because
it's derp bait.
Yeah, because I guess
basically Steve is unbelievably, incredibly insecure about himself, and he just cannot handle anyone criticizing him or telling him that he's wrong, or criticizing the way he's doing things, even if they're actually trying to help him.
And he uses the overconfidence narcissistic kind of thing to mask that. So
remember that he's losing his pigment. He's turning into a Gandalf.
Yeah, and he's aged like 10 years in the last 3 years. I don't know what's going on with that, but he's not looking so good.
Heroin is a hell of a drug.
Well,
it's all the rum and coke.
Stop it.
Yeah, it's all the rum and coke.
Guys, come on. But basically, since he started essentially turning on and throwing out the old guard, who, seeing his behavior, you know, I mean, he turned on Drag and Fiona and Sam and like, quite a number of others that were pretty well respected. Now, the issue with this was that the reason why he turned on them is they were in private initially compiling this document called Brass Tacks. And the whole point of it was, these are the objections we have to his behavior, and they were going to sit there and get together to have basically an intervention to try to help out. And
we did.
And it kind of got leaked prior to that intervention, which forced it a little bit early, and the shit hit the fan. And he reacted really badly to it. And since it's shuffle tradition, we brought it up here to call him out, and then TST picked it up the next day. And instead of taking it on board and saying, okay, I've kind of been a schmuck, sorry guys, he decided to like double, triple, and quadruple down. Went literally, you know, it's like back when the whole Bottengate thing happened back in the day. All Botten had to do is say, listen, I'm sorry guys, yeah, it was kind of dumb of me to do that, and that would have ended it earlier. Instead, we went on for like 2 months with a whole Botten button thing, until it finally just kind of simmered down because the drama got boring. And with the Steve thing on the shuffle side, the drama's already kind of boring at this point. But he keeps
but he hasn't stopped.
But he hasn't stopped, and that keeps him being brought up. But yeah.
But if he was an atheist, he would have 50,000 subscribers.
Yeah, if he was an atheist and not a hipster agnostic, he would have tons of
not
thousands.
A ghost. If he wasn't a ghost.
Hold on, I just realized something here. Okay, True Empiricism doubled down on all his crap about ATP mayonnaise.
Mm-hmm.
And Steve used to laugh at him and poke fun at him for doubling down all the time.
Yep.
But then as soon as something happens to Steve, he doubles down.
Yep.
And not everyone can fail out of nuke
There
school
are
like
different
him.
standards here, sir.
Oh, I agree, Kevin. I do. It's completely different standards here. You know,
Not all-
because Truman Pierce says I never went to nuke school.
I was just gonna say he never went to
He never went nuclear.
killer option.
No, let's stop pronouncing it just to pick on poor Steve. Come on, guys. We've gotten bored of Steve, generally speaking, here, even if he does keep throwing out random
Shoving his
drama
foot
to try to draw more attention to himself as the way it comes across.
And if he is watching, thank God, you almost killed your version of the GDC anyways. It's
Well-
basically dead.
Well, that was the thing is, I mean, almost any time that I would sit there and talk to him now, granted, he would hold me up as being somebody that was somehow endorsing him, and I'm like, no, dude, I'm not. I'm letting you use the corporate hangout because you're having people on there that are worth talking to.
And sniping, yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. You know, I'm good with that. But when he started pulling some of these shenanigans, it was agreed among those that do have access to the corporate accounts that he was going to be taken off the list.
One corporate hangout equals endorsement.
Yeah, and the thing is, but every time I went into his hangout, I'm like, dude, I've got a problem with you calling it the Great Debate, your little thing, the Great Debate Community. In part because my thought is, if basically the pattern that I seem to see during that time period was that you'd have new voices coming into the community, and we were getting a good number of them, and some of them are pretty damn good. I'll have to admit, I have no problem with that. But he was going out and courting these people, bringing them in, and oh, this is a great debate community, and making it sound like it was something that he started. Like this whole thing was because of him, which gets this weird loyalty with the newbies that don't know any better because it pre-existed him long before. And my fear was that if he had the proverbial great fall, or to centralize things too much to his channel, which he was trying to do for a while, that if he ended up getting taken down through porn bombing or what have you, that it would do massive damage to the community at large. Now, luckily, most of the people that are the newbies that were brought in there that are the good voice of the community seem to be going their own way now, and so that's at least a relief, but that was my concern.
GDC going their own way.
and remember, Jordy, G-Man would be nobody if it wasn't for Steve.
Oy vey.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another thing. Like he claimed credit for G-Man's popularity.
Yeah.
I think
that was drunken peasants, you douchebag.
TJ exclusively did him a service.
Yeah, that and him giving everyone spanners I think is pretty weird. I mean, I'm really sparing with who I give them to.
Even I have a spanner.
One of the very few, but that was just because you wanted to nuke somebody because they upset you one day. And
Yeah.
I've never taken it away from you because I'm too lazy to moderate
you
myself.
You did take it away from me, and then you gave it back to me to do something else. I can't remember what it was.
Probably because I'm too darn lazy to monitor the chat myself.
I think it was Raul again, and you gave it back to me, I think.
Yeah.
Well, it was the night of that first shuffle, the one that got me in trouble with Steve because we were talking shit, where Raul and his like 200 socks showed up in the chat. I mean, we think it was Raul. We don't know for sure.
Well, I mean, just no, but the way he like when he started talking about like IG and said Christian specifically, I was like, that has to be Raul. Like, how many fucking people like knew IG beyond that?
I had fun with him that night. I will say that was kind of entertaining. He was being okay.
If it was Raul, he was very like he was sedated Raul.
Well, I'm going to.
He's retired.
I'm going to say something obnoxious just for the hell of it, because, you know, it's what I'm supposed to be doing. Amazon.com/author/tmatters. The books 1 and 2 are available for anyone that wants them. They're available in softback. You can download them as ebooks. And also, if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can get the darn things for free and read them that way. And yes, there is still some royalties to come to me through that platform. However, just because I feel like being annoying about it, and I hope you don't mind me pointing it out here. Andy over here was actually my first patron back in the day, and because he believed in me back when I was doing content before anyone else, I'm going to be actually seeing about sending him 2 signed copies from the proof copies that we are going to be getting through Amazon.
Oh, lucky you.
So
my life just got a hell of a lot better.
Yo.
So that's my request. Dude, you helped me out with my confidence back then and all this other crap when I was sitting there struggling a little bit. So it's absolutely the least I can do. I'll coordinate that with you at some point later. But yeah, it always helps to have somebody there that's kind of got your back and wants to encourage you when you're sitting there floundering a little bit.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. I'm glad I could make a difference.
And I still love your guitar. I still have guitar envy. Then again, I can't even play anymore. But
Yep, I still love it, although it doesn't look quite as new as it does in the picture.
no, I'd imagine not. But that's gorgeous. Your brother made that, if I remember, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right, and I'm getting another one off him. Because I can. Yeah, I made a few strange design decisions with this guitar because I wanted to model it on some of the previous ones, and so I'm doing another one that won't be quite as extravagant in places, but because like this thing doesn't fit in a normal guitar case, I have to put it in a bass case and that kind of thing. But so we'll get a bit more standard in places. But I want to build it around one of those sustainer pickups that uses a magnetic coil to drive the strings, so they just stay ringing forever. So anyway, sorry, one tiny little push and I go all guitar geek. So I'll show
It's no problem. No. Welcome to do so. But in any case, does that more or less cover it with the Steve thing, you figure?
Yeah, it's been a weird drama-filled couple of months.
Always been
Heroin.
Year.
a year.
Yeah, a year more like. Because the brass tacks blow up was right around Christmas. It was like the day after fucking Christmas.
Yeah. And then after that, we started having G-Man meltdowns on a weekly basis, and then it got to an hourly basis.
Then a daily, an hourly basis.
And then I had to take my secondary break, which apparently I'm not fulfilling properly.
Well, however, around the time of the second stroke, there was something really interesting that happened. I started having like this weird tingling numbness on the left side of my face just randomly, so I had plenty of warning the stroke was coming. But also during this time period, after ignoring him for 4 years, I suddenly had an intense interest in trying to urge G-Man to be a better person. Then I had the stroke, and now that feeling is gone completely, and I don't give a rat's ass. So apparently it takes, a stroke for me to give a crap about what G-Man's doing or saying.
What's up, Headless?
Yeah, I can guess how successful that was, right?
Oh yeah,
He didn't watch the video.
He has since claimed that he watched the second video, but from everything he says, he has not. Because the messaging of both videos, if I don't mind, blowing my own horn a little bit on this, I think was really fucking clear to anyone other than an abject idiot, which, that'd be G-Man. Everyone else figured it out, but he's, hey, you're being Dr. Phil. I'm like, no.
Well, compared to him, everyone is Dr. Phil. Well, that's giving too much credit to Dr. Phil. Compared to him, everyone's a fucking doctor.
Compared to him, everyone's a mathematician, too. But yeah, lately on that side of things, though, and I haven't bothered to really speak out on this since the events of it, but because of his antics, he pissed off a lot of people, and the people he pissed off got G-Man fired.
Yeah,
Well,
I followed that.
He got himself fired, but the way that he handled their shit didn't help.
Well, ultimately it was his actions that led to him being fired, but the people that were trolling him, he gave the trolls basically everything they needed to approach his boss at the job, and say, here, these are the things he's doing at the job there, including unplugging the phone for a day, including closing the gate off for like 9 minutes so you can argue with somebody on the internet while there's a kid stuck inside the store with you.
Yeah, that happened.
So yeah, he was fired for really just for doing things that you don't do at work unless you're a complete and total moron.
And now his boss is investigating him for stealing blue barrels.
Which he may or may not have actually done. We don't know. We just know after he said he was quitting the job, they appeared in his room.
That's why and he makes this claim saying, "Oh, the atheists convinced the trolls convinced my boss that I stole blue barrels from work," and you see the barrels behind him, like next to him in his room. Maybe he bought them. I don't know. We talked about that today.
Of all the things you could anybody could ever steal from a job, and G-Man allegedly steals Blue Barrel.
Think about it, Headless. Why would he buy them? Why would he actually spend money to buy them?
You got a point. Maybe he likes... You know what? He probably took... We'll go with the alleged taking them home. Not going to worry if he paid for them or stole them. But he's got them in his room because he enjoys stacking Blue Barrels so much. He can now go home and stack Blue Barrels in his free time.
Exactly. He needs to be reminded of Susie. Maybe he stole Susie. I don't know.
Hang on. Good night, Piggly. Or Piggle Pig, rather.
But that's why...
We're starting to just ignore it.
Oh, okay.
That's why his boss is investigating him, and he should.
Yeah.
They're doing an inventory.
I do kind of respect that the boss isn't just taking the word of some idiot on the internet.
Or the word of an idiot like J-Man.
An idiot on the internet told me there's something's missing from my store. I better go count.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they provided evidence of it. Like, here's a YouTube video of this employee you just fired who's a little shifty, and he has stuff from your store in his video. Yeah.
Yeah, that appears between one video and the next. That does make things a little interesting.
Right around the time that he was fighting. Yeah, that's worth doing an inventory over, I think.
But yeah, the guy did receive some evidence apparently, which of course, G's representation of this is that these people merely lied, as opposed. It doesn't really matter. I actually briefly talked to him yesterday in his G-Man Against the World thing, and it went about the way that it normally does when I deal with G-Tard. And incidentally, for anyone out there that thinks I'm actually insulting retard, people that are retarded or what have you, and I know that's the wrong term, people that have challenges, that's not the case. When I refer to G-Tard, it's not T-A-R-D, it's T-A-R-R-E-D, as in tarred and feathered, which I think are doing some good. There, now I've repeated the one joke I made in TSC today.
Maybe I'm like unique or something because G-Man does not like frustrate me in the least.
Oh, incidentally, I just need to mention one thing, and then you can go ahead, Jordy. The video that JD put up after he got porn bombed, when he said that, when he announced, well, here's the post porn bombing thing, that got flagged apparently from being misleading content. So he now has to fight a claimed community guideline strike.
That should be a lot easier appeal than a porn bomb appeal, mostly.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, what are they gonna get? All right, I really don't find G-Man that frustrating, at least mostly because I avoid most places where people talk about him, excluding here, I suppose. But the thing that frustrates me more is how people mobilize against him. No names.
Oh,
but certain people.
Yeah. But the thing is, what that group, that little collective of people didn't realize was that there was a lot more than merely their nonsense that was going on behind the scenes.
No, not the Garys. Not the Garys. I don't give a fuck about the Gary Richards.
Okay.
The other motherfuckers, no names, who insist on mobilizing against him for every little thing.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Every little thing that they mobilize against. That's the thing that frustrates me more than anything, because I don't know who these fucking Garys are. I don't know who the Garys are. I have a general idea of who might be involved, but since I don't give a fuck about G-Men that much, it doesn't bother me.
Well,
it's the shit that I have to be dealt with, that I am involved with, that I have to see, that I had to see on a motherfucking daily basis.
Well, hang on. Did I tell you why it was that I went into that silly hangout of G-Man's to confront him?
I did not hear anything about this.
He's been going after Boom.
Oh, well, Boom's not around to care.
No, Boom hasn't been around for years.
Yeah.
But he's going around him and accusing Boom of being a pedophile.
He's not around, though. Boom don't give a shit.
Well, the problem is with him being involved in politics, it could potentially fuck up his entire goddamn life, and that's what G-Man wants.
That's okay. Yeah, that might be an issue.
That's why I went in there, because it's like, dude, fuck off. The guy hasn't been on here for over 4 fucking years.
Most people don't know Boom's real name, and I would imagine, like, G-Man hasn't made a video like with Boom as a pedophile in the title or anything that can be searched. So I wouldn't worry about too much if it's
Well,
just, oh, Boom is a pedophile and is buried in a hang. No one knows who Boom is.
Well, the interesting thing
Other than
is
us.
when I went in there to confront him about it, he's like, "When have you gone after him?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I remember what the claim was. I remember and the claim was akin to G-Man's whole slavery isn't immoral in and of itself, nonsense." And Boom was saying the attraction isn't there's nothing immoral about the attraction. It's the action. As long as you're not acting out on it, you're not actually doing anything. You're just attracted to someone. And we did not like that form of argumentation and had a shuffle in which for it was like 4 to 6 hours, we were hammering at Boom trying to get him to explain what he was talking about. And G-Man's like, well, I don't believe you. You're going to have to prove that conversation happened. Boom was on camera at the time. There's no fucking way I'm pointing him to that shuffle.
Fuck off, idiot.
Speaking of fucking devil, Jello Shots is in the chat.
Oh. Hey, how's it going, man? Jello, you're welcome to come in if you want. Your camera will be off, of course, because I am the opposite of G-Tard in that way. But you're welcome to join us if you want, man. But you will be on air. Ah, Jello.
Hey, Raj. We were just talking about Jello. Not even 45 minutes ago.
Where are we?
He's in the garage. The garage. The garage.
Oh, fuck. You beat me to it.
What?
Oh, Jello, did you see the line at the bottom, man? Yeah, I know your cam's always off, but did you see the link at the bottom? The Amazon.com/author/T Matters. Books 1 and 2 are out. And I'm pushing people that are interested to get it. If you don't like it, that's fine. You can get it through the whole Kindle Unlimited thing. If you want to get the free copy through that's perfectly cool. But yeah, I'm basically saying if you don't like it, you don't like it. But if you do like it, share it with a friend.
So what did that other thing have connection about you going to confront G Fuel on the thing I was talking about?
Which one? Sorry.
You said you went and then we started talking about Boom and what was the connection?
I confronted him about going after Boom when Boom's been out of the community since Dramagate.
Oh, right.
Sorry, since Gamergate rather. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's been out of the game since Gamergate. He has had nothing to do with anyone in this community, but G-Twit was like, oh, he's an atheist, therefore he's part of the community. I'm like, no, dude, he's not active. He hasn't been
he's long gone. He's around, but he's long gone.
But yeah, G-Man is just fueled by bigotry against atheists, plain and simple. I actually looked to see if I could find some sliver of humanity left in him, and I did. I honestly did. He still cares very much about animals because they don't have souls.
That's basically his only redeeming quality.
Yeah, I was literally saying that to Kevin the other day. Like,
1 second.
to me, I wouldn't say that him caring about animals is a redeeming quality.
It's his only redeeming quality.
Like, what I mean is it doesn't make up for everything else. But, like, my thought is at least he's not cruel to animals.
If he was an animal abuser, I would have ruined his fucking life already. If it's not already ruined.
It would have made me cry.
Oh, and incidentally, Jello, I think that's great advice. If you don't like it, write a funny review. Rock the fuck on. Then we can have some fun on shuffles with him.
Kevin, G-Man lost a job where you stack barrels.
Exactly.
You want to talk about lives being ruined? No.
Yeah, it's already ruined, and the Irvington, New Jersey Police Department is looking into him
because he had made death threats in the direction of Miss Star.
Oh, really?
Well, the thing is, he makes these kind of threats.
No, that's I'm not saying. Oh no, someone's done this. No, it's like it's gone that far.
Yeah, I
know he says all this stuff.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, with all the death threats that he's made against people, it's about time that somebody finally reported him on it. I mean, you can't expect to get away with that for, years without somebody eventually calling you out on your shit.
Yeah. All I'd say about all the threats he's ever made you can't react to them emotionally. You have to sit down and say, okay, can he actually do this?
Can he afford it?
No, but it doesn't matter. It's still
No,
illegal.
but you understand, like, there's some things he's said that as soon as they're said, I get a whirlwind of crap being thrown around of, have you heard what G-Man said?
Yeah.
And it's like, no,
G-Man
he
has
can't
said
do that. It's
this
going to
one
cost
thing.
$800 just to do it.
Yeah.
He's never going to do it.
Headless is in my mindset right now as far as
You know,
don't flip out over every single little thing G-Man says.
Yeah,
Well, hang
we
on,
know
though,
he
hang on,
runs
though,
his
hang on.
mouth. We know he shoots it off.
There is one important point, though, somewhat in my defense of me going in there that I do have to reference, is that, well, I did sit there and call him out on that, and he ended up bringing up Jade, and I had to try to get him to understand what being a freaking lesbian is and what the difference between lust and attraction is, which, of course, he can't grasp. But the main reason why I went in there is because my little Amazon.com/author/tmatters tag was under my picture the entire time, so it was me being sleazy advertising to the 600 frickin' subs he has.
We had like 10,000 or something.
Yeah, I was actually sneaking in there to whore the book. Oh yeah, that's right, he was on the actual proper G-Man channel, I forgot. But yeah, it was mainly to whore the book, and Antonio, whether it was wittingly or not, was like, wait a minute, I just noticed the little thing you have down there. You're an author? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, great. So I got to throw sneak the plug in there. Thanks to Antonio.
Denial.
He might have figured out why I was really in there. I don't know. But if so, he played along nicely. Because, you know, if I can get a couple more sales, and that's the thing is that when I say that, it sounds like I want the money. I want people to read it. I hope people enjoy it. And whether they do or not, I don't know, man. It's a matter of taste, but I just hope people enjoy it.
Right.
It's certainly not about the damn money. I spent like, what was it? It was like $3,000 getting the things edited because I didn't want to be releasing something with all kinds of issues with it and the, you know, grammar and what have you. So I spent a ton of money on that. I don't expect to even make my money back. I just want the books out there. I want them read. That's, you know, my existence past, you know, past death, past strokes, past loss of brain cells, past all these things. That's how I get to, on some levels, live on.
As a book.
Yeah,
you get to be the book that Midnight wanted to be.
Well, yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, that's almost a weird way to put it because, I mean, it's, you know, some part of my world lives on, so to speak. Part
as a book.
Yeah, and that's the point. Now, the fun part is that with working on the next installment, Book 3, like I said, I'm probably going to be working on that basically for all intents and purposes, workshopping them in live hangouts, or at least that's the plan. And that will be an interesting thing because it's going to be on some levels a little bit more of a naked hangout than I normally do because I've been having to be, I don't know, really self-conscious in the way that I present myself lately. And I've been having to focus more, and I tend to hit cognitive walls at seemingly random points. And at these points, you know, it's just like I start babbling or I can't find words or what have you. So there's a chance of that happening to a degree in the middle of these. So it's going to be potentially a little bit more insight into what it's like to try and recover from a stroke, which is part of what the exercise is. It's kind of forcing myself to go through the process to try to recover that in a very in-your-face kind of way, because, well, I might have had more cognitively to work with to begin with than somebody like, you know, obviously G-Man, but even a lot of other people potentially. Just the fact that there are people that have these kind of issues, I'm hoping that maybe I can be some inspiration to them. Maybe it can help them. And there's a lot of techniques that I use as part of the recovery that I don't think I'm going to necessarily be explaining. But that, you know, maybe people can glean something from, and I don't know. Maybe it'll help folks.
No, fingers crossed.
Yeah, we'll find out, man. I don't know. But because right now I'll be honest, I have some confidence issues, and a lot of it has to do with the neurological crap, which is why I keep bringing it up, because I'm trying to deal with it. I'm trying to get beyond it, and just the confidence hit itself probably does more damage than the stroke did.
Hmm.
Let's see now. Jello's comment, I fail to see why anyone would expect more from G-Man than they would from an ordinary house cat. Actually, from what I've seen, I think his cat's smarter than he is. Well, that reminds me, I should check on Facebook to see if Epi's around and bug him. I haven't actually done that. Let's see now. Take a look here. Now, y'all, did I just kill the conversation? Oh, incidentally, just as a reminder, link is in the description. People can join if they'd like to. Let's see now. Oh, who's online? Steve McRae. I don't think I'm inviting him.
So, invite him. I want to yell at him. No, don't invite him, actually.
I don't think he'd join, and I don't really... I don't generally like doing the whole, like, inviting people disagreeable just for the sake of theater thing. I've never been big on that, honestly. And as I've said to G-Tard every time I've caught him saying something like, that's what I'm going to do. I should go on Shadow's channel, and I should... Dude, you're not welcome on my channel. Just not. You know, I mean, we've had plenty of times with that kind of stuff, like when like Ray Montero or whatnot would come in, and we'd all be having a decent conversation, whatever, and he'd come in, and immediately everyone's like, we want to pounce and deal with Ray because he's, well, Ray. Quite simply put. But, yeah, and then you'd end up, because we're normally trying to stay away from things like, you know, the debate stuff and arguments and this kind of stuff, but when you'd get somebody like Roy Montero in here, everyone would want a piece of them. Same with
vegans. Those fucking vegans, I swear to God.
Oh,
I had no problems with veganism. I just have problems with those fucking dickheads.
I think they unsubscribed the other day. 2 of them popped up in the chat, and they were trying to figure out why they subscribed to the channel. And one of them was like, do you talk about veganism? I'm like, no, why would I do that? And then I think they both left.
Do you debate about veganism? Not since Jordy yelled at them for 5 minutes about not willing to participate in any other conversation beyond veganism.
Oh god! And the worst thing in their particular case was that they did not even understand anything about, you know, about animals. Basically, you know, when you have a herd, if you don't periodically call the herd, it'll get sick. Hey, Kazoom, how's it going, man? It's been ages.
Oh, it's going all right. No real complaints. Seems to be going pretty good.
I haven't seen Kizzy in like 2 years.
That's more dressed than I've ever seen Kazumi.
Yeah, and I've also lost 86 pounds. So
I was going to say good job on the weight cut, because then that's awesome.
Thanks. Well, I sure didn't mean to interrupt the conversation.
Oh no, I'm actually shut myself up because I'm typing something in the sidebar because I've already said this like 5 times in the last minute, and I want to irritate people outside.
Okay.
However, I'm putting a link in the sidebar because I don't think you got the news.
No, what?
Click that link.
It will snipe you immediately.
Oh, yes.
Get out of my hangout.
Jordy, don't give the internet ideas.
Books 1 and 2 are out. Yay. But yeah.
Hey, Kevin, I have a project for us. I don't know if Kevin's still here or not.
Your living situation did finally iron itself out, I hope, Kizzy?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm really glad to hear that. I was a little concerned after last time we spoke.
No, things are going all right. So
rock the fuck on. That's good to hear. Let's see if Carson was last on 13 hours ago. That's no fun.
That's cool. I can actually check out your book now. I can.
Yeah.
In the Kindle edition, just have it free.
Yes, Kindle Unlimited. And there's like a 30-day free trial on that. Now, there's something. There might be something weird about it because my wife was saying something about you don't get to keep the book if you get it for free. The Kindle Unlimited is like a set time period that you get to read it or something. I have no freaking clue. I haven't researched it properly. I just know it says it's free on Kindle Unlimited. So, oh, here we go. Dun dun dun.
Is it Epi?
Yeah.
I figured.
The other classic that I invited. Unfortunately, Carson's not around.
Sup, y'all?
Hey, man, how's it going?
Hello.
Not bad, not bad. Nice seeing your faces again. It's been a while.
No, you can see my face, Epi.
Naturally, the people out in the external can't because I always keep the darn camera off just in case. Especially in light of what happened to TST earlier.
What happened to TST?
They got porn bombed.
Yeah,
this is why trusting no one is rule number 2.
what's rule number 1?
Knowing who to trust.
I
well-
see.
No, rule number 1 is all people are inherently stupid.
Gotcha.
Well, Epi's in here. Can I just play a little something that he sent me last week?
Sure.
Hey, Ryan. I hope you enjoy Croatia's play so far in the tournament, because you're going down, bitch. What?
That was before.
Yeah,
that was
to be
before-
fair, I didn't know how well Croatia would do next week.
Well, okay, they lost the final to France, but you sent that to me the day before the semifinal game against England, which Croatia won.
Yeah, we should not have gotten so high on our
Yeah,
we should have scored earlier.
Don't send videos that you're going to regret later, because believe me, I'm going to make you regret it.
What are you talking about? That's like the story of my life.
But you're lucky England didn't score again. I was actually dead set to send you audio of me singing God Save the Queen.
Oh, God, I was spared that thing.
As a Commonwealther, that's what you gotta do, Epi.
Exactly.
Ugh.
It sounds painful.
Commonwealth.
It sounds
Don't know.
incredibly painful.
Oh, it is. Actually, when we creamed... when we won our game the week beforehand, I was at an English pub in Charlottetown. We all sang that one together. Yeah.
It's okay. I think you guys get an automatic. You guys get an automatic bid. I think in 2026 because you're co-hosting it.
You did not bring it home.
Well, no, I'm saying Canada. I'm saying Canada gets like an automatic bid.
No, that's not next World Cup. That's the World Cup after. The next one's in Dubai.
Oh yeah. No, it's in Qatar.
Yeah, I'm kind of really hoping England never wins again because it took us like 50 years to shut up about it the last time.
You don't want it to #bring it home?
It's coming home, lads. No, I guess it's not.
I know, and the only time you won it back in '66. I mean, you got that. The first goal you got in extra time may not have even been a legitimate goal.
Oh, dude, France won, didn't they? You think the Brits are bad? Holy shit, France won't shut up for the next fucking millennia.
No, it only takes them about a decade. They won a few years ago.
Point here. France finally won something in Russia.
I mean, remember that one time Messi scored the game-winning goal using his hand, and when he was called on it, after he said it was the hand of God?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, there was actually a funny joke about that. So he plays for Messi plays for Argentina, and they barely made it through to the knockout phase. And when they made it to the knockout phase, he said, I knew that God wouldn't let us down. They were knocked out of the first round of the knockout game. Where's your God now?
Where's your God now?
Apparently cheering for the French. I never knew God was so un-American.
Oh, he wasn't really rooting for the French. He was just in the neighborhood getting a croissant that day. Wasn't sure that particular joke was going to hit. Cool.
Now, I only ever follow like football until England loses because I actually want them to lose because when England loses, people I hate suffer.
Ah. This sounds like a very worthy motive to me.
No, one of my first jobs was, and this dates it, I was a motorcycle dispatcher around Manchester, and one of my jobs was to go to all the football grounds and get the VHS tape of the game and take it to the TV station in time for the news, which left me with a lifelong hatred of sporting venues in general and football in particular.
That sounds like a pretty awful job, actually.
It was a nightmare.
Oh, that reminds me. How's your Hindu friend doing?
She's doing fine. She got over. There's some personal life thing in her life going on, but I'm just helping her through that. But she is killing it in calculus, apparently, which is good.
Very good. You're gonna have to bring her around some more because it was fun to listen to her rag on you.
Yeah.
Is that calculus or calculus?
Calculus. Calculus is what Scottish women do for math. No? Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize tremendously for that joke.
I assume you've been paying attention to your Facebook lately.
Me?
Yeah. So you've heard the announcement, I assume.
What announcement is that?
The book!
Oh, right, yeah, congratulations on that. they're out, and on paperback.
Yeah, that actually the thing that's kind of weirded me out about is that the paperbacks are selling better than the ebooks.
Yeah, to be fair, I read more paperback books I have than ebooks because ebooks are, well, I have to go on my computer to read them, and I get distracted with Facebook notifications and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering about that because when my wife were looking into it, I'm like, we'll do the ebooks, we'll make it so people can get it for free if they want, and this and that. And then I'm looking at the stats, and mind you, it's not much. You have a couple copies, whatever. But I'm like, okay, why is it that the hard? I don't know. I mean, I get it that people prefer holding on to the book, but it just surprised me a little bit. This is one area that I was kind of concerned was going to fall away. When I was actually, because mind you, it's a sci-fi story. When I was working on it, my thought was a little bit along the lines of, would people even still be using books? And I'm so book-minded myself that what I did was basically structure it so it's like all books, it's like the pages are there and you have a spine and you replace the spine on the book and that replaces essentially the content. So instead of using a tablet, you have something that's basically a bunch of different pages so that you can still have that feeling of turning the pages to go through the book. So you can flip back and forth and this kind of stuff. But what's on those pages is dictated by the spine. Because there's something about just having that book and being able to flip back and forth without, having to bookmark and all this other stuff that I kind of hoped would be something enduring.
Yeah, I mean, back when, I'm trying to remember his name, he was a comedian, played the banjo. Oh, Steve Martin. Steve Martin, when he wrote comedy books, he'd make these anti-jokes, and they would be so elaborate. And by the time you reach the end of the joke, you're like, what the hell was that building up to? And you kind of laugh to yourself because what would happen is you turn the page and expect the joke to hit. But you couldn't really do that with an ebook.
No, you really couldn't. There's a lot of things you, on a lot of levels, can't do, I suppose. But yeah, just the fact that I really expected ebooks to be the thing that would go nutso, and I'm surprised that it didn't. It's making me question what we're going to do when we do eventually do a marketing campaign for it. That's something that's going to come way later because that costs even more blasted money. Oh, actually, Faithless. And by the way, good to see you, Faithless. It's been a while. You're all, of course, welcome to come in if you'd like. But it should be visible on the stream, the link down at the very bottom there underneath where I have the chat box. You should probably look at the stream to make sure it's displaying properly, but it should be there. Incidentally, I see a reference to Blitzkrieg Bop. Oh, man. The Ramones.
The Ramones, man, I used to love listening to the Ramones constantly back when I was in high school.
Well, the Ramones are still actually one of my biggest regrets in life.
Why is that?
Well, there was a night that the Ramones were going to be playing at Mamakin's. And I'd heard about it, and I'm like, yeah, screw it. I'm just going to take the next day off from work, and I'm just going to head down to the club and watch the Ramones. I mean, how often does this kind of thing happen? Well, on that particular night, what they did was the Ramones decided we're going to keep playing. And it went past the point that the club had to close for the night. They stopped serving beer and what have you, and they closed down the club for the night. Now, this is Mamakin's, mind you. This club is owned by Aerosmith. So when they called Aerosmith and said, "Hey guys, yeah, the Ramones want to leave," Aerosmith's like, "Yeah, let them play through." Being musicians, they got it. And what happened was the Ramones played every freaking song they'd ever written over the course of the night while everyone was locked in there. I mean, they went through every song and would stop in between sets to just mill around and chill and BS with people. They started, I think it was like 9 or 10 o'clock that night through to like 8 the next day. And actually, I think it might have been even a little bit longer than that. Now, about a week later, Joey Ramone died. It was literally their last show. And why didn't I go? Why did I and my roommate miss it? Because the ex-bitch that I was hanging around with at the time gave me so much crap about wanting to take one day off work that I ended up missing it, and I've never let her live it down. I still am in contact with her occasionally. But yeah, I missing that, I'm like, oh, shit. That was, very much a once-in-a-lifetime thing. But yeah, it really, apparently really down to earth. I mean, when do you hear about a band that sits there and just hangs out and chills and talks with the crowd in between sets? That's pretty kick-ass.
That is. By the way, what happened to your ex? Did the KKK take your baby away?
Oh, I wish they did. Then I might have made it to the show. I mean, I was old enough. I should have known better. I wasn't exactly a teenage lobotomy at the time, for crying out loud.
I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I've missed shows that I was sad about, but I don't think I've missed one that I've regretted. I remember having to miss out going to see Slayer, Metallica, the big four of thrash. They were coming by Halifax, and the reason was because I went away for 6 months doing volunteer work across Canada. Now, weighing in those two experiences, I'd much rather have that cross Canada experience than just one night. But missing the Ramones right before one of their big names croaks it, damn, that would be heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was pretty rough on some levels, but life goes on. Obviously, it wasn't necessarily earth-shattering, but it's definitely one of those things I'm not going to let her live down. Sometimes when you're dealing with one of those weird lessons you learn over the course of your life is, you get together with these people that are on one level or another kind of toxic towards you. Whether it's just that they suppress part of who you are, or they try to demand that you behave a certain way, or what have you, that interfere with you living your life. And that's not a real relationship.
Exactly.
I mean, there has to be a certain degree of give and take. Like in the case of my wife, for example, my wife will be like, "Oh, I'm getting together with so-and-so and da-da-da-da," and there's never a fight over it because, like, okay, sure, fine. And I know if I'm like, okay, I'm going here and doing this, she'll be like, okay, fine too, because in addition to having our lives together, we make a point of having our own lives independent as well. And finding that balance, I think, is important.
I'm pretty sure there were other concerts. You still got a great chance to go to.
We actually, my wife and I both went to a concert a little while ago. It was a triple header. And I keep forgetting the name of one of the bands because I didn't like that one. But the other two were Joan Jett and Heart. And I was always a huge, huge Joan Jett fan as a kid. This is when they were being indicted into, not indicted, that's not the right word. When they were being brought into the inducted, thank you, into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But yeah, it was kind of cool. It was a good show too.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And it's one of those things, this is a woman that I was, quietly lusting after as a kid, because she had that, the little badass thing going on, and I was a huge fan of Joan Jett. And I'm going to the show thinking to myself, wow, I wonder what she looks like now. I'm betting that she's still pretty good looking. Damn, I was surprised, man. She aged well. But then I guess money helps with that. It's not like she grew a long white beard and lost her hair and, oh, wait, never mind, we're not talking about Steve. Random dig. Had to do it. Once again, for those Indie External, hello, 18 viewers. How y'all doing? No, actually, this time I'm not simply plugging the book. There is a link down below. If anyone wants to join, you're welcome to do so. We seem to be running a little bit low on discussion right now because we're not talking drama, and I'm trying not to talk endlessly about the book, but it's a challenge.
Yeah, she doesn't. By the way, yeah, you're right. She actually still looks pretty good.
Yeah.
She's what, in her 60s?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And by the way, I mistakenly put down Jonah Jet, and that's a female porn star. Do not make that mistake, guys.
Oh, noted. Actually, with Jonah, it could have been a guy. It could have been way worse.
I am totally not typing in Jonah Jet into the Google search bar right now. I am totally not doing that.
Hang on. Jello Shots described the porn image for us. I'm sure you looked it up by now. Anyway.
Let's
see now. So, have you been converted into a horrible religion yet, or are you still Catholic?
Still Catholic. We're still pretty much sane. Pretty much.
Yeah, mostly.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I seem to remember that you were dealing with somebody that was a little bit towards the more radical side.
True. I mean, yeah, I know you don't have too much purchase for people who, for Christians who speak in tongues.
Well, that wasn't the end. Okay, I might have had a moment of wanting to shatter everyone's view of you by getting in a discussion with you about some of the things that you say that you do believe in, but I decided to preserve your integrity.
Woohoo! Thank you.
I know another way we can shatter everyone's view of them. Epi, let's talk about your knowledge of porn trannies.
Well, I mean, I'm not really familiar with that.
Oh, you're familiar with at least one.
Okay, yes. Now I am familiar with one more female porn star that I was not
One
priorly familiar
One
with.
more, so that implies there was at least one
Right,
other.
right.
That
So this
implies
makes
that,
two now.
that only implies that one is greater than 0 as a number.
At least two. At least
No.
two. Tell me
Zero
about
is a number.
the extensive
0 is a
knowledge
number.
about,
0
It's
is
not
a
a
number.
number, it's imaginary. Come on, get over it.
Come on. 0 is not an imaginary number.
Epi, I think you're playing a zero-sum game here. Okay,
I've got one lighter in my hand. Show me all the zero stuff in yours.
Here, there is 0 stuff in my hand currently.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Exactly. That's what 0 indicates. Nothing.
And
It's
when
nothing put in it's nothing put in the form of a number.
I like the way you stuck your hand in the camera like that.
Well, it's no more. It's certainly not as damaging as talking about believing in possession or something like that. So, you know, it could be worse.
Well, I mean, possession's 9/10 of the law.
Ah.
So, I mean, you gotta believe in possessions.
Possession of blue barrels?
Okay, listen, before we get into that, it is alleged.
Alleged possession or alleged barrels?
It's alleged possession of alleged blue barrels.
There we go.
I'm not sure the possession is in dispute. It's the acquisition method, right?
Yeah, that's true. That is completely accurate. Jello, how have you been, man?
Yeah. I'm high. How are you?
Ah, good. Good to hear it. Seattle
I was
being good to you?
in the chat getting well medicated when I heard Epi talking about, tranny porn stars, and I'm like, I gotta find out more. I gotta know. I gots to know.
Hi. Okay. I haven't talked to you in a long time, man.
Yeah, usually you just do these live hangouts and stuff, and
Well, actually, I shouldn't necessarily say that because I haven't gotten much for links from pretty much anyone for the off-air stuff lately. So I don't know if it's a problem on my end or what.
Me either.
Oh, okay. So you haven't been doing the off-air thing.
A lot of the people that you and I hang out with, I think probably aren't having a lot of hangouts as of late.
Yeah, that's probably what it is then. Okay, cool. Because normally I'll get invited to one of your hangouts, I'll go in there like, oh, great, it's Jello, let's see how he's doing. And you're playing some fucking game mindlessly for hours, and I'm like, yeah, I'll see y'all later.
Yeah, I do that. Woo!
It's hard to be funny while actively playing games, unless you're Hana.
What games?
Yeah, that's what. Oh, sorry.
No, no worries.
Well, I was just gonna say that's why I never did one of those Let's Play channels where people like play video games. I always thought, God, I'm funny. Like, I mean, relatively speaking, right? Compared to the normal asshole, I'm kind of, anyway. But I can't bit, while I'm playing a video game. I've played like multiplayer with people, and I'm just not funny.
You're too focused on the actual game, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just not bidding.
Yeah, I actually tried to push my daughter into doing Let's Play channel ages ago because she was absolutely hilarious, and she, of course, didn't even recognize it because often people don't. But she would play things like the Slender Man games and this kind of stuff, and she'd be doing almost this stereotypical little girl reaction of freaking out every time he's on screen and sitting there talking to the screen and this kind of stuff, and she was a riot. But her mother wouldn't approve because, you do that, you have to let the kid swear and carry on and play the character. And she was horrified that her mother might come across the channel and freak out, so she decided not to, and even now that she's living here, she's just lost interest. Oh, sorry, now she's a teenager, so she's lost interest in any form of normal human communication. She walks by, has that phone, I'm like, can I see your phone? She's like, no, it's my soul.
Yeah, she's lost, interest in human communications with people over 20.
No, she just has interest in communication with people over, I was going to say Twitter, but that's not it. I can't think of what they're using now. Yeah, she's got 8 different platforms she's always on, sending pictures or whatever to whoever.
Yeah, my kid's in the other room. It would be a lot easier for me to talk to him by messaging him.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah.
Like if I wanted to talk to my kid right now, I could do one of those. I could Skype or whatever. There's a lot of different ways. I could actually, FaceTime with my kid. That ain't a thing. But it's just,
yes, Instagram. Thank you, Faithless. That's the one.
Hey, ringing the bell, guys. I'll catch up with you guys soon.
It's good to see you, man. I'll still be around on Skype, man. Always feel free to hit me up.
Cool. All right. Cheers.
Have a good night.
But yeah, Instagram, just good grief. My daughter is a selfie. I think she's been replaced with the actual selfie. And the selfie, of course, is dabbing or something like that. I don't know. Not the kind of dabbing that Jello does, but.
Oh, that other kind of dab. People quit doing that other kind of dabbing a year ago.
Oh, did they? Okay, I don't know what she's moved on to then. She spends a lot of time going to anime cons, and she's always helping with the makeup and the hair and stuff. I swear that girl spends more time on wigs that she wears once than any. Yeah. Anyway.
Cosplayer.
Oh yeah.
Anime cons, really? That's the thing.
Yeah, she loves cosplay.
Anime cons are actually pretty fun, from what I've heard, though. I can't hate her on that.
Yeah, tranny porn's pretty good from what you've heard too, right?
Jesus, I misspelled the name of one 1960s female rocker, and suddenly I'm into tranny porn. Is that?
Well, it was Joan Jett, for Christ's sake. How can you not know Joan Jett? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, it's me. Look, sometimes you mix up 2 letters on a keyboard. It happens.
I can't pick on you too much for that. It certainly happens to me a lot these days.
Thank you.
I made kind of a hater comment about Joan Jett out in the outside. I don't know if you noticed it, but my favorite Joan Jett songs are covers.
I'll be nice and ignore your blasphemy. You are Joe after all.
Did a great cover. I mean, if you're going to cover an AC/DC song and it isn't going to be...
Oh, God, yeah, that was great, yeah.
If it isn't going to be Big Balls, it should be Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, and that's the one she did.
Oh, yeah.
That Crimson and Clover song, that was like from the 60s. Everybody had forgotten about that song, but she brought that back and fucking made that shit a hit. And of course, I'm a big Gary Glitter fan. Not the man, of course, the music. And he did that song, "Do You Want to Touch?" And she did an amazing cover of it.
You should have heard her at the concert. Holy shit, man! All three of them. But yeah.
Let's see. It's a long
set,
way.
actually.
There's an AC/DC cover I've been meaning to get to by the Dropkick Murphys. It's a long way to the top.
If you want to rock and roll.
I'm sorry?
If you want to rock and roll, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard it, but Dropkick Murphys are a great band. So, I mean, I know the AC/DC song. I don't think I've ever heard the Dropkick Murphys version.
I haven't actually, but I hadn't heard of the Dropkick Murphys till right now. I'm sure I'm going to have to look them up later because I'm sure I'm going to get a link somewhere.
They're
one of my favorite Christmas songs. I think it's called "The Seasons Upon Us" or something like that.
Yep, that's the one. They're essentially.
All my favorite Christmas songs are done by the H.P. Lovecraft Appreciation Society.
You definitely know one of their songs.
Oh.
It's the song every time there's
Shipping off to Boston.
Yeah, every time there's a movie in Boston, there's that pirate song they play, right?
Yep.
I'm a sailor Peg, and I lost my leg. Climbing up the top sails, I lost my leg.
My leg, yeah.
Great song.
It's as a way to describe the band, think of AC/DC, but they incorporate bagpipes, banjo, and a lot of other Celtic folk instruments.
Oh wow! Now I know I haven't heard of them.
They're an Irish folkish rockabilly band.
I don't know, man. The rockabilly's where it hurts. Never been keen on that. Now, granted, they're in terms of the more, I was just going to call it more southern influenced groups. I really anything country rockabilly I'm not too keen on, but there's one exception. But that's country with rap.
You're keen on that?
Big and Rich is pretty good.
Okay.
I think that's the name of it, at least. There's actually, it's weirdly it's good, and I don't normally like country or rap, but somehow the fusion with that pair works. I don't know, man. And I think it's because, you know, you don't get too much of that. Something about country, a lot of just, whiny ass kind of shit. But with the way that they have to break it up to synchronize the two of them, it actually turns it into something that's, well, musical.
There's some good shit been happening over the last half decade or so in country. Wheeler Walker Jr.
Fucking love that guy.
He is amazing.
Eating pussy and kicking ass. Yeah, that song is just the shit.
Eating pussy, sucking dick, and kicking ass.
Yeah, that's what happens. Yeah, in the third verse, though.
Wheeler Walker Jr. is the shit, and I guess he's kind of more rockabilly than country, but
no, he's more blues.
No, I'm talking about
blues country, really.
Hey, he's talking about somebody else. Hang on, what?
Scuzz Twitley. He's more rockabilly, I guess, than country, but he's got that same humor thing that Wheeler Walker Jr. has, and then like. As far, if you like your lineage, Hank Williams III is an amazing talent. I would recommend Pills I Took, Cunt of a Bitch.
I see a running theme here.
Let me see.
I don't know. The last real country song I can think of, and I can't think of the name of it or even the lyrics right now, was basically a story of an abused wife that shot their husband as he came home.
Thunder Rolls by Garth Brooks, right?
Might be. I don't remember. It's been years, hell. It's been, I don't know. How long have I been here? It's been probably about, 3 years by now. I've been down here for like 20. I've literally lived half my life in Texas, yet I'm still not a Texan. Figure out how that works. the Texas thing. Unless you're born here, you're never a Texan. You're just, in my case, being from the Northeast, I'm not merely a Yankee, but a damn Yankee. The distinction, of course, is that I married a Texan.
Is a damn Yankee better or worse than a regular Yankee?
A damn Yankee is much worse.
Well, don't foreigners consider us all to be Yankees, north or south?
No.
Yankee.
I do.
No, this is a southern thing. It's let's see now. If you come down to visit, you're a Yankee. If you decide to stay, you're a damn Yankee. If you marry somebody from the South and you're a Yankee, you're a goddamn Yankee. But I decided to leave that part out.
Hey, you know what? If you're a goddamn Yankee, be good at it.
So he should have sex with his wife better?
No, I actually, being the goddamn Yankee, I guess, publishing a book that's not a fucking country western while living in the South might, make, I don't know.
Well, also not wearing those sissy ass boots or the hat.
Yeah.
I did have a pair of those boots somewhere.
Here's the thing about that, though. If you are... Wait, how did George W. Bush get elected governor of your state, though? His family's from the Northeast.
That doesn't matter. They have money. Oil money. That provides exemption.
Okay. If I were to move to Texas, would I be... I'm guessing I wouldn't be a Yankee because I'm not from America. I'd just be a foreigner.
Yeah, you'd just be some goddamn foreigner.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd probably get chased down the street for being a terrorist in Texas. If you come to, you want to go a little bit farther north,
Well, after they figured out where his family was from, yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably just say I'm Italian or some shit.
You'd be better off, man.
Yeah.
Well, depending on the area, there's some areas that are perfectly fine, but there are others that
Maybe I could just say I'm from Israel, and thus I'm your greatest ally.
No, then you're a fucking... Well, never mind.
Well, I was going to say, God, you guys know who Brenda is, right? Brenda Von Ashen. I think that's her name.
No.
You know who Brenda is? You don't remember Brenda? She's the transgender woman.
Oh, her. Okay, yeah. I didn't know the Von part.
I got into it one time with her. Like, we were just, I don't know, for some weird reason, like, we were talking about, like, whatever the point. I brought up the fact that, like, Arabs actually do very good in America, like, financially. And her response is, well, Arabs are basically like whites.
Oh, fuck her. When Brenda can put her knapsack wherever she wants at the airport and not get into shit, she can let me know about that.
When I first came down here, it was with that same ex that I referenced earlier that got in the way of me going to see the Ramones concert. But she spent years trying to convince me to get some, cowboy boots. And I'm like, nah, screw that. Why the hell would I want those freaking things? And then one day I'm sitting there working, and I work a white-collar job, and I'm wandering around, and I see somebody wearing boots, and I'm like, wait. And I actually pause, and I'm like, wait a minute. Are you telling me that down here those are acceptable shoes? And they're like, why are you looking at my shoes? I'm just curious. And they're like, yeah. Down here you can wear cowboy boots to work wherever you work. I'm like, oh, well, shoot. So I went and got me some because I hate the regular shoes. They're much more comfortable. So, yeah, that's the only reason why I have a pair is because back when I was working, I could wear those instead of wearing loafers or something. One of those rare occasions that much like I don't like wearing a tie, so then you have the what do they call them?
Bola.
Bola, thank you. So I actually have a really nice bolo tie somewhere around here. I can't find it. I lost it at some point after the wedding, or I should say, sorry, at some point after the honeymoon.
Someone needs to bring those things back. Like a lot of people, not a lot of people. There's a few prominent people. Bill Nye. There's definitely some people out there intentionally trying to bring back the bow tie.
Yeah, bow ties are even more of a pain to tie.
I think people should start working on bringing back the bolo. It's damn good look. It's different.
You need to talk influential, like famous people to wear them.
It's also easy to put on.
Yeah. Fuck yeah!
Do you know how it took me like it took me a week to learn how to tie a tie and actually get it right. Like I got it within the first hour, like the basic pattern, but I actually had to practice for like a week to inculcate it.
Yeah, I've always been better at tying knots, so I didn't really have that problem. But yeah, with bow ties, I'm a lost cause.
I just haven't gone to that many funerals, so I still don't know how to tie a tie.
There's like countless YouTube videos you could go through that'll teach you how to do it.
True.
Well, I mean, the real joke there, by the way, is maybe if you had a job other than McDonald's. That's where you should have gone. Just saying. Like, if I were you, that's where I would have gone.
I would have gone to get into BDSM, and you'll find 18 new ways to tie one. Just saying.
I would have said, well, I know of a she-male that knows how to tie a tie. No?
And we're back to that, are we?
Oh, come on. I thought it would be funny. I stand corrected.
So that's how many now? Jello, are you keeping count?
I'm sorry, I was talking to my kid. What was that?
Oh, you missed another tranny thing. Damn it.
Oh, shit. All right, well, let's just go around the room and everybody name their favorite tranny porn stars. We'll start with Epi.
I don't know of any tranny porn star.
You know at least 3. Come on.
I knew of. Let's see. I knew of that one by accident. Let's see if there are any. No, I can't think of any. Like, there's actually a guy on here who is unabashedly unashamed of looking up trannies. Wolf King.
Wolf King's a cool motherfucker.
Yeah. Oh, let's see now. It's time to make coffee for the morning so my wife doesn't murder me.
All right.
That's the dream.
I'm almost ashamed to admit that I've never actually seen any of her movies. But Bailey J, I know that she's a trans porn star, and she used to be on Jim Norton's talk show on Vice. So I guess I'll say she's my favorite. I couldn't ask of Epi if I wasn't willing to, give myself. That's not fucking fair.
I don't know. I've never looked into that. And the funny thing is there's a part of me that wonders why I haven't. Because when I started running into, trans folks on here, I immediately got curious enough to look up, well, how is this done? How the actual transition part. So, I looked up a couple of things on it, not pictures, mind you, I had safe search on. But I did look up to see what the procedures were and this kind of stuff, and I got curious enough that I'm surprised I haven't looked into it just out of curiosity from a more scientific standpoint. But yeah, there's something about it that's kind of weird and fascinating, so I don't know. Maybe one of these days I'll turn my safe search off.
Yeah, by the way, my...
No, I won't.
So, by the way, my Hindu friend, apparently she got herself a new roommate, and her new roommate is a transsexual as well. Born a chick, but became a dude.
Hey, shut up, Whitey.
Not white.
You are in Texas.
Oh, true. Actually, that would be one of the better things about moving to Texas is I could pass for... I could pass for white because everyone else is probably so tan from the sun.
Oh, dude, actually, the whole Texas thing, there was, I think it was in Texas, there was a guy that, around the height of the racist stuff after 9/11, there was this one guy that was getting all these death threats, and they ended up interviewing about it on the news, and the guy was sitting there on the news trying to explain to them what a Sikh was.
Oh, yeah, I know. A lot of people conflated between Muslim and Sikh, and a lot of Sikh. There were actually some Sikhs who ended up getting killed, in the aftermath of that.
And that's part of why the guy was interviewed, because there were a couple people killed from a Sikh temple.
There was actually a guy, there was a Sikh in Arizona, literally just about 10 miles from where I live. He ran a gas station. He was killed 4 days right after 9/11.
Yeah.
And then his brother was a cab driver in San Francisco. He was killed about a year later, just complete coincidence.
You know, that's the great part about Canada. Our racists know the difference between Sikhs and Muslims.
Good. Well, that's at least a start.
Actually,
Actually, no, it's not true.
No, dude,
what-
it gets even worse. There was a woman in Oklahoma, I think it was. It was either Oklahoma or Missouri, I'm trying to remember which, that was ran off the road and beaten almost to death. And the whole time the attacker was, damn Muslims, get the fuck out of our country, yada yada, all the terms that go along with that and all the insults. In the meantime, their friend was pleading with them, trying to get them to stop because this woman was Cherokee.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, not only was she not a Muslim, she was more American than the asshole attacker. But her skin ain't the same color as mine. And unfortunately, when you're dealing with people that are that fucking ignorant, the only way I can get my revenge is in fiction. And I did. Yeah, when I did the initial release party hangout that I ended up having to pull, we had some little schmuck come in there. And the thing is, generally when you have some little troll come in to say certain racist terms, most of the time I suspect that the troll isn't even racist themselves. They're just trying to get the reaction. And unfortunately, when you have somebody sitting there coming in to say the N-word 8 million times and be obnoxious with that, there's a chance that they could follow it up by trying to flag your channel. So I had to pull it just for good measure, although I don't think that was really the objective there. But yeah, so this person coming and going N, we'll just frame it that way. And I ended up going on this diatribe about the fact that there aren't technically any white people in my book.
Wait, there aren't any white people in your book? What
No.
about that woman? What about the woman on the cover? She looked white.
Actually, the story takes place about, it's like 40,000 years after Earth was effectively destroyed over a dispute with aliens that decided to come down to investigate certain things on the planet. And of course, humans can't leave well enough alone, so we started harassing the aliens, and so they decided to make contact. And then, in a Trump-like manner, they served calamari to a cephalopod, an alien cephalopod, and that species decided that humanity was too offensive to be allowed to exist. So, ARC ships were sent. A race known as the Lamentics, who are very white-skinned, ended up being in charge of providing some ARC ships to get what they could for the remainder of humanity off here. Lamentics, being kind of assholes, decided to segregate the humans they were sending off to see what would happen if they were forced to re-evolve on their new homeworlds. And they divided them accordingly. The Caucasians that were sent were predominantly white supremacists. They landed on a lovely planet with a blue sun. And due to the fact they prized the whiteness of their skin, they proceeded to try and maintain that level of, well, I almost want to call it opaqueness at this point. Until by the time they finally did redevelop the technology enough to get off their planet, they were freaking blue. But yeah, the main character in this is part Shumfarian. She's actually was cloned, and she is part Shumfarian. The Shumfarians are the humanoids that evolved from Asia. So technically, almost all the Shumfarians could trace their lineage back to China, Japan, Korea, etc. Some of them to India even.
What happened to the Arabs?
Nobody technically knows. The ship never made it to its destination. Foul play is expected.
We might have crashed into the Universe Twin Towers.
Well, the problem is that there wasn't appropriate research done, so it would have been all the Middle East on one ship. So I can make some assumptions there.
Oh, sorry, I found a meme.
Now, the majority of the folks from India landed Well, technically, they didn't land at their desired destination. Their destination was changed. They landed on an Eshalar planet. The Eshalar are somewhat goldish-skinned aliens with 6 arms. Yeah, they look like Hindu gods. That was the point.
Are you plagiarizing anything from Scientology?
No. No, I just put a lot of snark in there. I love Douglas Adams. So there's a lot of weird little jokes worked into it. And a lot of picking on our own stupidity.
Hey, Prudent. Question. Did you see my Scientology meme that I posted?
Yes, I saw that. That was good.
Dude, it is gaining so much traction right now.
Really?
Okay, apparently according to... So, on this meme, I have 274 hearts or likes and 56 reshares.
That's that for Facebook?
No, for Twitter.
That's actually over 200. Yeah, that's good. My record is only, I think I've gotten over 360 one time, and that was the one. I think you were the first one to like it. It was the one where I made the joke about. Can we just agree that this is probably the most ambitious crossover event ever? And it was that event in 2007 where American warships actually rescued a North Korean warship from Somali pirates.
Oh yeah, that one was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because everybody, I'm not going to explain it. It's Twitter stuff.
Incidentally, just a quick note regarding the cover art. While dealing with the artist, the instruction was to try to make the character, because the closest you get to the look I was going for is somebody that's actually from India. So that was kind of the look we were going for. But once you start adding the lighting and the shading and the other effects and what have you, a good portion of that was not as well translated as I would have liked, but you're limited based upon the lighting because it was fully 3D rendered. But that was the look we were going for. The lighter skinned India, like, you know, the upper class. Caste, that's the word I meant. The higher castes in India.
Okay.
Oh, we're slowing down. Next topic. Do we have one?
The how Microsoft has ruined Skype. You know, have you seen how they've changed it so the desktop version looks like the UWP version now?
Oh, damn! I haven't done the upgrade yet. I'm so fucking glad I didn't hit that button.
Yeah,
the Windows 10 version is such a dog. Ugh.
If you can still hold on, if you can just keep hitting, you know, cancel the upgrade, you can at least use this until the end of August. And then they're forcing everyone to change.
Incidentally, no, they do have 4 arms. The Eshalar, that is. But the Eshalar are such a rare species that you're not going to see them. You're probably not going to see them until maybe book 4.
This is hilarious. I'm a capitalist to my bones, Senator Warren tells New England Council, one of the several instances this morning where she's highlighted her belief in capitalism and markets while talking bankruptcy policy. That's awesome.
Actually, Christina, just because you kind of mentioned it a little bit, what I was considering doing, because I am going to be probably live streaming me working on the rewrite of Book 3, what I was thinking of doing is basically putting it, prior to publication of that one, a call out for things like fan art and what have you, to see if we could get, you know, some people's contributions out there so they can feel like they were a part of it. Don't know whether I'll go that way or not, but I'm also going to need cover art when I get to Book 3, because I waited 8 freaking months for my artist friend to have time available to work on the project. Which is why we used 2 different variations for books 1 and 2, because she got busy again at work and we couldn't get her to do a proper cover for book 2, so we just used one of the other drafts. Which was, you know, it happens, but you know, this is what happens when you're dealing with like real professional artists and you don't have a great deal of money to pay them for a project like this, especially when they have regular day jobs. She does a lot of 3D art for like car manufacturers and that kind of stuff, normally. but she also does some really, really insane sci-fi stuff. I had her do a little promo, so to speak, for a project I was working on a number of years ago that I ended up having to cancel. And the aliens she kind of made on the fly without any guidelines, to the point that if I'd if I still had a copy of it and ended up using it at some point, I would probably end up making the races just to match up with what she had the art of, because she did that great a job. At the time, I was planning on basically taking the full storyboard that I have for not only the main characters, but what's going on behind the scenes and the history leading up to the events even of Book 1. And I was going to basically write all of those out from different points of view and set it up almost like one of those, what is it, the make your own storybooks that, you know, you turn to page this, turn to page that. I was going to do something like that in web page format, so you could basically follow a character through the timeline. And whenever you had the place where you could switch character points of view, you'd have a link there and you could switch from one character to the next. It was actually a really neat idea, but then it occurred to me how much work it was going to be. I'm like, yeah, this would take me 3 lifetimes, never mind. So yeah, that was the thing. And we are winding down. This is what happens whenever I start babbling about the damn book. Hard to get me not to, though, sometimes. Anyway, seeing as we seem to be winding down and we don't have anyone joining, we have 16 people out there. The link is down there. If y'all want to come in, you're welcome to. But we do seem to be winding down.
What is the name of these books? Shadows Within.
Okay, the story itself, the storyline, so to speak, the group of stories are referred to as Pathways to Midgard. Now, the significance of Midgard, the particular system that they're in is the Habras system, which used to have 3 habitable planets within that particular system. And the closest system to the sun was named Sorrel. Then the next one was named Midgard, and then the other one is Hyrule. Hyrule was the seat of power, and it's the furthest one from the sun. Midgard, on the other hand, basically protected the inner system, including the planet Sorrel, which has since been destroyed. And in the destruction, the planet Midgard, according to the story at least, was cast into space and is now a legendary wandering planet. There's also a prophecy that, well, at least in Book 1 is referred to in a prophecy. You find out more of the truth of it in Book 2 as to what the actual origins of it are. A prophecy it is not, but why it is embedded within the collective subconsciousness of pretty much all life throughout Keralis. That's actually explained a little bit in 2, but really comes into full understanding in Book 3. But yeah, this quote prophecy is something that seems to have propagated through almost all of the races of Midgard. And it's mysterious as to how this happened, but everyone interprets it their own way. But that prophecy is kind of a through line in the story. And I just completely lost what I was talking about because I stood up and moved, and I need more coffee. Okay, but in any case, the planet Midgard, the legendary planet, according to the legend of Midgard, anyone who ends up being drawn into the prophecy, meaning that they're one of the prophet, whether it's prophet born or chosen by prophecy or what have you, that all pathways lead to Midgard. That anyone that's part of the prophecy or gets sucked into it ends up at some point going to and finding Midgard, the wandering planet. Now, the 2 volumes, Book 1 and Book 2, Book 1 is Shadows Within, and the second is Shadows Without. Now, this particular character has effectively 2 souls within her at the start of Book 1. When she was made at the cloning facility, incidentally, which is run by a hostile AI that has a rather vicious sense of humor and wants its own freedom. It sometimes screws with the clones when it's going through the process. In her case, there are 2 different samples that were used to create her, or 2 primary samples. Now, of course, to get these 2 to cooperate with each other, these 2 samples, there was additional alien genetics that were incorporated in to bind the 2 genomes. So, because of this, she has effectively 2 souls within her body. One which is Kayla, and the other one is the shadow self. It represents, to a lot of levels, the shadow aspect, as was discussed in the Jungian writing back in the day, Carl Jung. So she's dealing with this dark shadow within her that's, urges her to this and that, and it's a little bit nuts to begin with. And she's struggling to try and deal with this second aspect of herself. Now, the reason why the second book's called Shadows Without, I'm not going to freaking say because it's a spoiler. And it's also the reason why book 1 costs so much less than book 2. Because book 1 has a rather vicious cliffhanger at the end, and I don't want to be that cruel.
Can I be a grammar Nazi for a moment and ask why is Shadows? Why does it have an apostrophe?
Shadow is within. Shadow is without.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I was originally trying to see if Shadow was the name of a person. And now I know.
It is to a degree. Her second self she refers to as Shadow. And book 1 is Shadows Within and Shadows Without. It's apostrophe S because it's Shadow is.
Okay.
Which
cool.
gives you a little bit of the spoiler there, which is why I don't have it specifically mentioned there.
Okay.
Of course, if you go through the old Hangouts talking about this and the books, you'll find out what the spoiler is, but hey. But yeah, no, that's absolutely deliberate, and I don't know, there's a part of me that eventually I might add in a author's note stating, by the way, the apostrophe is because its shadow is within, and just put it on both of them, just so nobody thinks that I screwed up on that. Because I did realize that there will be people that will look at it and go, wait a minute, why the apostrophe?
Okay.
But yeah, it is actually deliberate.
I figured it was, but I just was trying to, and you gave me more of a story on that, and that's great. So,
yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, with the cloning and the two souls within her, yeah, I'm going to give a little bit of a spoiler. I'm going to try to not get to the real meat of it, though. But the first book is really Kayla's story. The shadow within her that's the shadow part of herself. That's the second story. Shadow's story, the inner darkness, so to speak. The second book is her story, her second self.
Okay.
And the third book is at the point that we've come to the proverbial actualization, and the two halves have learned to get along with each other. But by the end of book 2, she's really kind of figured herself out. And book 3 is just, I know who I am now, let's find my place in the universe. Because sometimes you have to figure out who you are before you figure out what you are. Or what you want to do with yourself, I should say.
Yeah.
It's kind of a long arc. And just for shits and grins, once again, we have the link at the bottom of the page, as well as in the description, amazon.com/author/T-Matters for anyone that is interested in checking out the book. It's available in both paperback as well as electronic download, and can be gotten for free through Kindle Unlimited, which there is available a 30-day free trial on. So, yeah, if you're interested, go check it out. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Either way, I do accept that people do have different tastes. Now, the people that I've had read it so far have really enjoyed it, but that doesn't mean it's going to necessarily speak to everyone.
Do you owe Amazon like a fee for selling it on Amazon? You have to like pay Amazon to market your.
Okay. With publication, whether it be through Amazon or the old big book, the big brick building publishing houses or what have you, what people are paid is royalties based upon the sale. So you're given essentially a percentage. Now, even a lot of larger name authors are actually switching over to things like the Amazon and what have you, because the actual amount that you get per book sold, etc., those royalties tends to be higher through Amazon. So it's actually not a bad deal at all. The royalties through a big publisher, now granted, through them you also get things like advances. Sometimes if they're buying things like all rights and this and that, you'll just get a flat payment based upon whatever their projections are. But generally speaking, when you're maintaining the majority of your rights, which I am in this case, all I'm giving up is my first publishing rights by publishing it on Amazon. I have the choice between 35 and 70% royalties, which the big book publishing companies only usually offer about 16 tops when you're talking about the actual royalty part of it. Now, granted, a lot of time there's an initial amount that they'll give you as an advance, but, you know, it's still an advance.
Oh.
But so you technically, in terms of royalties, do a lot better with something like that. And with the way that I have it set up right now, I went with the higher royalty offer, which is part of why it's available on the Kindle Unlimited. Because, okay, fine, with Kindle Unlimited it's free, but for the actual sales I do get a better percentage, regardless of whether it's ebook or the paperback. Sorry about that. But also, even if somebody gets the free version, I do get some royalties, but that's based upon the percentage of the book that's been read. So the more the person reads, the more of those royalties for that I get. Which, you know, that's perfectly fine, because if somebody decides, oh, I want to check this out, I'm checking it out under the free thing, and, you know, they get like 20, 30 pages into it and decide, you know, this isn't really for me. You know, I get the credit for what they did read, that's fine and dandy. I don't really mind. For me, it's more about wanting people to read the darn thing, and, you know, hopefully some people will enjoy it, and that'll be fun. But yeah, I've always been a huge fan of Douglas Adams, so there's a lot of really weird tongue-in-cheek kind of jokes and whatnot, just kind of pointing out the silliness of society that's thrown in there.
Nice.
For example, there's this, one of the longer diatribes is talking about this thing called the CDA, the Corporate Defense Act. And without actually potentially ruining that the fun little part of the joke in there, the whole thing with the CDA, it's this law that basically allows companies to get away with whatever the heck they want in designs. They don't have to really take much regard in for like people's safety and this kind of stuff, because the Corporate Defense Act allows the companies to sue you for misuse of their product. So if you somehow damage yourself, injure yourself with a product, or even die, it must have obviously been that you're misusing their product. So if you misuse their product and try to take them to court, they can sue you for misuse. But yeah, lots of there's a fair number of weird little stuff in there, but I try not to do it as in your face as some other authors have tried. I just try to put it just smoothly into there. You know, these little things to explain moments, you know, very different things in the universe that don't make much sense. And the CDA, because of the planet they're on, makes a lot of sense in that, you know, it shows a total disregard for health and well-being. For example, underneath once you go to the lower levels underneath the ground, because the majority of the cities actually built lower into the planet, they have these pathways that you can travel on. And you essentially slip tiles onto your feet and skim across the pathways. And these, you know, they're laser pathways, etc. Actually, I don't think I specified whether it's plasma laser, but using these, with these plates on your feet, you just skim along there. And if you slip and you fall, you get vaporized. And this is something that certainly would not be possible without the CDA. It's a little libertarian. Kidding.
Prudent's not a libertarian, though. He's more of a neo-lib.
Yeah, I'm still going to poke him with a stick.
Yeah. Well, neo-libs are just libertarians who like universal health care.
Basically.
Oh, incidentally, no hard copies are not available at this time through Amazon. I don't know whether they'll incorporate them later or not, but no, they don't do that at this time. Part of that's because the printing costs are a lot higher. Printing, for example, with these ones, I have them, the price points for them are around about $10. And that's because roughly half of that is the actual printing cost of the paperback itself. And when I say that, I'm saying that would be cost. If I were to get author's copies, that would be roughly half the cost of what I have them listed as. If they were to do hardback, I'd have to have it a lot higher. And, well, I do know one company I can do that through. The cost is a little prohibitive, to say the least. Now, you can, on the other hand, instead of doing a standard trade size paperback, which is what I went with, you can go with larger sized books, but they're still going to have the paper cover. They're not going to be hardback. Sorry, Christina asked. So anyway, what were you saying, Prudent?
Oh, nothing. Nothing important, at least.
Oh, did I just, like, stop a political discussion?
Probably.
Woohoo!
But now to bring that up.
Man, with the Twitter account that I have associated with my author's account, I've had a horrible, horrible year. Oh my word. I'm not supposed, because of the books coming out and this kind of stuff, I'm not supposed to get into politics. And there's been so much stupid I've wanted to comment on. Oh my gosh.
Like the recent Trump stuff. Like,
oh yeah.
Well, I'm actually more pissed off, like, because he's done a couple of interviews with a couple of Fox News commentators, and the one that he did tonight kind of pissed me off a little bit, because he went on about, he was talking about NATO, and he talked about how he's upset, like, how NATO seems to be just a one-way street in which, like, the United States doesn't really get any benefits, because, like, in the case where, like, Estonia or Montenegro got invaded, we would have to come to their aid due to Article 5. The problem is this, like, historically speaking, the only time Article 5's ever been invoked has been to our benefit, when other NATO members helped us out in Afghanistan, and that's it.
Wait a minute. How does NATO? Wait, how does NATO's Article 5 extend to Afghanistan? That's not in Europe.
I know it really shouldn't, but for some weird reason, like, that's really the only time it's been invoked.
You know what? I'm actually liking Donald Trump right now, mostly because he's going against America's international. He's actually attacking America's international military-industrial complex, which I think is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of problems with it, but at the same time, I generally consider myself a very pro-NATO person, just because I feel like it's. But I mean, just from history, I think it's done a good job of keeping Europe stable.
I mean, it's one of the main reasons why Europeans can, in part, afford universal health care.
Probably.
Like, America foots a huge chunk of that bill.
Oh my god, yeah.
And if it wasn't for...
We could save, if the other NATO countries pulled their weight, we could save literally $300 billion a year.
You mean if they could afford to?
Well, they could afford to, that's the thing. Like,
wait, no, Prudent, hang on. You said all of them.
Well, yeah, so there's 28 NATO countries, and what NATO recommends is that each country pays 2% of its GDP.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I didn't realize it was just based on GDP. Thank you.
So America pays 3.5% of its GDP. We go overboard. Like, we spend more than we have to on military, whereas, like, the other countries, like, I think 23 of the 28 NATO countries cut short of that 2%. So basically, America's footing the bill for everybody else.
We also have veto power or something along those lines with NATO, though. Why do we have that? Is that because we're a founding member, or?
I think veto power is that's for the UN Security Council.
But the thing is, a lot of these, there's, what is it, 2-3 different nations? I think it's like, what, China, Russia, and the US, they can basically sit there and say, screw you, and cock block them?
Yeah, that's for the UN Security Council. Russia and China are not in NATO. In fact, Russia and
you're right, yeah, sorry.
In fact, they're adversaries of NATO, if anything.
That's right, the Warsaw Pact, I forgot about that.
The Warsaw Pact's a little different. And then, yeah. Well, so the thing is, this is just what I know. I'm a little worried that NATO might not be fully stable because there are a lot of problems, like, with some of the members. I can tell you, like here's one example. Both Greece and Turkey are in NATO, but historically speaking, they've been enemies. In fact, there are. I've heard. This is just based on from friends who study this stuff better than I do. There are literally, like, senior military strategists within the Greek, like, military establishment. Some of them, like, at this moment, are planning, like, for an invasion of Turkey, just in case relations break down. Just in case.
All that is true. It's been like high tensions between those countries have existed for a variety of reasons. Biggest one being Cyprus, as an example.
Oh yeah, because because the southern part is occupied by Greeks. The northern part is populated by, well, I wouldn't say occupied. It's populated by Greeks. The northern part is actually occupied by Turkey because it's populated by ethnic Turks. That was why they intervened there in the 70s, because the Greeks wanted it all.
Yeah, well, that's pretty normal.
All too true.
Yeah, I know my 20th century history. I think I know it a little too well.
Well, actually, there were things I knew. I find that there's a lot that's fallen out of my head, especially as of late. So a lot of these things I'm just going to be like, oh, what? Oh, yeah, like Warsaw Pact. It's like, why did I forget about that? Oh, yeah, that's right, because I have holes in my skull, for all intents and purposes. Well, in my brain, I should say. Still annoyed that I didn't actually get them to drill that hole in my skull yet. I'm still looking forward to that. I want a shunt put in because I'm tired of this stuff moving further along and causing more damage. And I still have 15 viewers. That's been pretty consistent during the majority of this. Hello, viewers, once again. I guess I should plug the book. We have the link down there if you're interested. But even more so, we do have a link to join the Hangout if you'd like to. Because otherwise it's just going to be the, four of us babbling back and forth? So you're welcome to join if you'd like. And if not, I don't know, I might call this in a little bit, but I'm still wide the heck awake. Which needs to change. I have things I'm theoretically supposed to do in the morning.
So you said that neoliberalism is,
I'm not really, I don't like the term neoliberal, but, that's based there, because the problem with because it means like four different things to four different people, right? Like if you say it.
Personally, I would just own that shit and use it to piss off the commies and the leftists just like super leftists in general.
That's what that guy who goes by the name neoliberal on Twitter does. Like that's his sole purpose for doing it.
I don't blame him. That's an awesome idea. Heck, if I started believing in things like universal health care, social security, all the social stuff that government does, I would totally own that label too.
I don't know. I mean, I don't see like the only issue like commies would really have is just the fact that like that neolibs are really big on private property. That's it. Like they advocate for the ownership of private property. Like I don't see like what's the big deal. Like they're
socialists too. I mean, they have. I think I divide the left between two distinct regions. One is the ideological anti-economic left, and the other is the left that's economically illiterate. They actually look through the data and they actually try to show how, hey, we could have these social benefits, provide for more members of society, and still have an economically powerful, strong capitalist nation. And that I admire much more. Although I find communists easier to debate because. And I like that aspect about them, but that's about it.
Oh, speaking of which, because again, it's the 18th on your side, but it's the 17th still on my end. Today is the 100th anniversary of the murder of the Nemastovs. That was the ruling Russian family, the Tsar Nicholas II and his family. They were murdered on this day 100 years ago by the Bolsheviks.
Yeah, thank God.
Some of them are actually like some of the tankies on Twitter like celebrating this day. Like fucking children got murdered in that, and they're celebrating this. Fuck them.
Well,
I mean, okay, you don't have to like the Tsar. I didn't like the Tsar either, but like his youngest kid was in his father's arms, like while they were being murdered. I mean, that's a little fucked up. Like, say what you want about Tsar Nicholas. Maybe that may have been the chickens coming home to roost, but fuck, the kids didn't deserve that shit, man.
Exactly. I mean, I guess their justification is something along the lines of, well, if we didn't kill them then, they would have tried to come back and reintroduce the monarchy to Russia sometime in the future.
I don't know. To me, that's okay. I'm going to be kind of a shit for a moment. I honestly kind of almost want the monarchy to come back in Russia just because I like the word Tsar.
I don't blame you.
It's a great word, man.
Well, that's the problem with Russia. Nobody ever good takes over that country. It's always an asshole.
To be fair, it's cold and destitute. You have to be an asshole if you want to rule it.
Yeah.
Well, when life is rougher, the people have to be rougher too.
That's pretty much the culture there. That's pretty much the mindset, at least.
You know, one of the drawbacks of Russia that could have prevented the Bolshevik Revolution was it had an unwillingness to modernize under the monarchists. If they would have gotten rid of serfdom, and if they would have just tried to reorient themselves to a more industrial, to a society that was more industrialized and capable, they could have done that. That's why the socialists did, admittedly, such a good job there.
The long arc of human history is people ultimately just resisting and fighting against change, isn't it, though?
Well, I want to go against. I don't know. I think World War I think just created this. I think because of World War I, the fall of the Tsar may have been inevitable. There was really nowhere for Russia to go in that war. They lost over 3 million people. That was, I mean, from what we do know, the reason why, like the liberal, like provisional government was overthrown later by the Bolsheviks was because they kept continuing the very unpopular war.
Yeah. Although, look, if you compare it to other monarchies in Europe that did go forward, England is probably the best example of. They made the monarchy more of a status symbol. They innovated. They did a good job of embracing the trade, capitalism, a global society, that sort of thing. If Russia actually the monarchists could have taken a step forward and just did that.
Yeah, but they didn't, and they fucked themselves over in the process. Too bad, so sad.
Yeah, I mean, I think the essence of conservatism should be, change should be mistrusted but embraced when a particular burden of proof is met. I agree that change isn't always good. Sometimes you can change for the worse, and a lot of times it does happen. And some ideas can be rather utopian and fantastical. But when you have economically rich power structures such as the United States and Great Britain that are just killing it on the global economy, and you don't bother learning from that, I think that is to your detriment.
I think the main reason the Tsar really wanted to keep pushing forward with the war. He just because you probably know this through history. They lost to the Japanese about 15 years previously. Actually, I think it was like 12 or 13 years. They lost in 1905, and then he was almost overthrown in 1905 as a result of losing that war. I think a lot of it was. He couldn't really accept the fact that he had lost against Japan, so he needed to have the glory of winning a new war, and that didn't exactly go the way he planned to go, needless to say.
I mean, they didn't actually lose that war. I mean, I'll restate that. On paper, they didn't actually lose that war. There was actually no peace treaty. It was just both sides started eventually to stop fighting.
Well, but I mean...
Like, I guess you could have just... Yeah, he could have just stated something like that. Like, we didn't technically lose that war. We just knew we shouldn't keep on fighting there. Like, what was the point? Like, oh, I didn't quit my job. I just stopped working there.
Sorry, Blue Barrels came to mind. Stop it. Stop it.
Anyway. My bad. By the way, I was actually sorry to hear that. I'm not going to use his name, but our favorite barrel stacker lost his job.
Did you hear why?
Yep.
Yeah, he's a shit employee.
I don't fully know the reasons why. Actually, I haven't really.
It's because he locked the door locking himself in the store because he likes pretending to play with a gun while a child was in there.
Oh my god.
Okay, there's obviously more to it than that. He was getting troll calls, and he during one of these troll calls calls rather. He closed the store for 9 minutes, closed the gate over, and was sitting there yelling at the internet. And while he's yelling at the internet, lo and behold, a young child asks him what the blue barrels are for, thus indicating that there's a child locked in there with him.
Oh boy.
Now, of course, there are other instances too, like, for example, blue barrels appearing at his house that he may or may not have purchased. But they did appear there shortly after he said he was going to start looking for a new job. There were a couple of instances when he took the BB gun there and held it in a menacing fashion while going toward the front of the store to say, speak to people that were there as customers, which, of course, well, it's not something that could really hurt them, and it's just kind of trollish to a degree. It's something that could upset people. They do have on tape on one occasion of one of the customers calling him psycho, which, you know, doesn't necessarily help his case either. There, of course, is also an occasion when he decided to disconnect the phone during working hours so the troll couldn't call. So, yeah, he's a shit employee.
Oh boy, that wasn't even I mean, I don't know how much he made, but that didn't seem like it was a very well-paying job. And I know he's not exactly in a good part of Jersey. So, like, just from a financial point of view, like, how is he going to be?
Well, considering, okay, the new term they're referring to him is, let's see now, what is it? Gary Potter living under his sister's stairs?
Oh, God.
Apparently he actually lives in, like, his sister's attic or something like that, so at least that part we don't need to worry about.
I hope she cuts off his Wi-Fi. That would be pretty awesome.
Kind of like what the Ecuadorians did to Julian Assange.
Well, I mean, he walks. There's videos of him like walking down the street, picking up chunks of grass and yelling at the grass that, you know, referring to his relatives and this kind of stuff. So, I mean, he goes around there acting like a crazy person. It seems like the neighbors just kind of are used to ignoring him. So I don't know, man.
Oh boy. I mean, look, I don't want him to be financially crippled in any way. I wouldn't.
Good night, Wildheart. Go ahead.
I wouldn't wish that upon, like, you know, G-Man at all. Oh fuck, I said his name, but God.
No, you didn't. You said G-Man. You said the ID, but yeah, who cares?
Oh wow, that's.
Oh, dude, I actually had some fun with Thick Shades the other day, which is weird in and of itself because we're talking about Thick Shades, but. He was going, G-Man. So we were having a little bit of fun with it. It's like, G-Man and the ruiners of the YouTuberverse, this kind of stuff. You know, we're just trying to come up with lines to replace the G-Man song with the He-Man song with G-Man lyrics. At some point I might sit down and actually do that just for fun. I don't know. You know, holding aloft his book and saying, I have the Bible. You know, it could be done. Well, we are still at 14 viewers, but we are running out of topics. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, I'm going to have to be up in like 8 hours to take my kid to school, driving school, that is. Just got his permit today, actually. The younger one. No, the younger one. My son.
Nice.
So
cool.
15, 16?
Yeah, 15.
Oh, wow. You guys start driving. Wow. You guys learner's permits at 15? Here it's 16.
Yeah, actually, back in Massachusetts, it would have been 16, too. It's like 16, then 16 and a half. You can get your license, but down here it's 15. And I suspect some of that is because there's still a lot of farmland in Texas.
It's 15 and a half in Arizona for permit, 16 for driver's license. Damn, in Massachusetts, you got to wait till 16 and a half.
Oh, 16, you can get your permit, 16 and a half, you can get your license.
I know. 6 months. It's a 6-month delay compared to Texas and Arizona. You know, you'd think that the state that spearheaded the American Revolution wouldn't have so many damn restrictions.
Give me liberty or give me death, my ass.
Yeah.
You know the guy who said that owns slaves?
Not surprised at all.
Yeah, they weren't always consistent, but you know, at the end of the day, it was for the better.
The long arm of history and all that jazz.
Mm-hmm. Christina Blackfeather comment. My son was flying planes in Minnesota at 16. Yes, but how long did he have to wait to get his driver's license? I mean, this is kind of the absurdity, is that there are cases where, you know, people learn to, whether it be fly planes or what have you, you know, vehicles that are potentially dangerous. We have, for example, tractors in Texas. You don't even need a license. You can take a kid, you know, like at 12 and pop them on a tractor and they're fine.
He tractors with the best of them.
Actually, my kids did technically drive a tractor at one point, several years ago. Oh, it's 17 for the driver's license, so he'd been flying could have been flying a plane for a year before getting the driver's license. Love it.
Jeez.
It says it all while saying almost nothing. Well, y'all, we've been running for a bit of a while now. I should probably see about calling it. For those of you that watched and joined us while we were live, thanks for joining. For those that watched and or joined us after the fact, thank you for watching. And we're going to see about taking this offline in just a couple moments. One final plug. The book is out. It's available on Amazon. Amazon.com/author/T-Matters. The books are Shadows Within and Shadows Without of the Pathways to Midgard series. We have book 1 and book 2 out there. And yeah, feel free to read. You can also get it free if you have Kindle Unlimited, which there is available a 30-day free trial for. And I am going to call it a night, because I should actually consider like sleeping at some point and waking up at some point and, you know, stuff like that. So y'all have a great night.